Oh, hello everyone. Welcome to our Dungeons and Dragons ASMR. How you doing?
I'm just gonna make mouth sounds the whole time.
What?
You know.
No. We need the dice.
Oh, yeah, I will say this in this because Pat, I don't want to just run all over your introduction, but here we are. I go out of my way to make the grossest, most terrifying noises in these streams, and Aabria always loves it. Like anything that makes everybody else's skin crawl, Abria's like, give me some more of that mind flare.
Always love it.
I
Yeah,
am
right, yeah.
too neurodivergent for that.
Don't yuck my yum.
Welcome to Neurodivergency and D&D. and NNDND. And ASMR.
ASMR.
And all these lovely people will introduce themselves, and my name is Pat, and you're welcome, and I'm sorry. That's for real, my intro.
What order?
How about we'll start with the captain of the ship, B-Dave.
Hey. Oh, thank you. Yes, I will give the full dog and pony show momentarily. Thank you all for joining us. Just to give you a little insight, we've been doing these one-shots for Worldbuilders for a while now. This is like our 8th or 9th or 10th one of these things that we've done. That this is a campaign that is set in my homebrew world of Kairos, where the gods walk among us. These wonderful people came out for half of these very wonderful people came out for the very first game. We've had others that have joined us along the way as they have toppled gods, restored order. Turns out restoring order is a lot harder than you think, which gave rise to more and more chaos. And in December, I think we did a game for Worldbuilders Big Charity Drive at the end of the year. And one of the stretch goals we said is, hey, if we make this number, we'll come back and do another one. And scheduling is an absolute demon. This was literally the first moment that all of us could be together again. And here we are to tell another chapter of the story here with The Jealous Queen of Heaven Part 2. I guess the only thing that has changed for me is y'all know what I do. I do this. I do it all over the place. I am non-ironically TV's B. Dave Walters, host of Invitation to Party on G4 TV, DM of the Black Dice Society on D&D Twitch and YouTube. You can find me all over the tweetagrams at B. Dave Walters and wherever fine streaming content can be located. And I don't know if we're on the same order on everybody's screens. I'm gonna kick it to Saige here to introduce yourself and your character.
Well, hi, that's me. Hi, I'm Saige Ryan. I go by Not Sage everywhere on the internet and run the Pixel Circus channel where you can find me playing tabletop games a lot of time with Aabria. I'm also in the Black Dice Society with B-Dave on Thursdays. I'm a cast member over at Smosh. And today I am playing Vatra. Vatra is a Ghostwise halfling Circle of Wildfire druid that I promise has some more useful spells this time. And we both use she, her pronouns.
I believe in you. We're gonna go down and around the horn, at least for how it is on my screen, with Harli.
Hey, my name is Harli Kane, and my name everywhere is Harli Hero. I'm on all sorts of channels doing all sorts of things, mostly playing tabletop games. And today I am playing Nazetta, a high elf arcane trickster rogue.
Excellent. And Aabria.
Hi, I'm Aabria Iyengar on social media at Quiddy. You've probably seen me on Critical Role or Dimension 20 or Kolak. I do lots of TTRPGs. We're going to just stop it there. It's great. And today I'm playing Timpani, a satyr bardlock. And I'm very excited.
So far, you've only seen my ass on Kolak, actually.
Look, it's a good ass.
A surprising number of people were like, "Is that you? I know that ass."
Yes.
And I'm like, "That's it may not. I haven't quite achieved America's ass, but I'm D&D's
No questions,
ass,
no answers.
D&D's ass. I want to see that business card.
I'm so excited to kill you later this season.
So, all right, real talk. I know we're trying to get this game going, but
Sure.
The team over at Hyper, they were like, "Hey, this is the thing we're doing. We'd love to have you a part of it." And I already had some stuff scheduled. I was like, I can't commit to the whole run. And they were like, "Well, hear us out. we have a character that was somebody else was playing, but now we need somebody to play it, and it's Aabria's brother, and we need somebody to terrorize her. And I was like, literally, give me the dates.
Yes.
Give me the dates. Yeah, send location. Everybody smash. Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Let's go.
I love you though.
I love you.
Rookie sensation Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Hello. Hi. My name is Brennan Lee Mulligan. You can find me at Dimension 20, College Humor's actual play D&D show over on Dropout.tv, which is our streaming platform with a bunch of great shows like I'm Actually and Game Changer and Breaking News and other fun stuff. I will be playing Mossbrow, the Warforged Paladin Sorcerer. So happy to be back once again playing in B. Dave's world. Thanks for having me.
The sweetest boy. There's an actual competition, but for sweetest boy between Mossbrow and Clive the Caring. So let me give it to you.
I default to Clive.
Thank you.
So-
No.
That's what the sweet boy does.
That's
See,
what happened.
Yes.
That's the sweet boy power move.
Fall for that one.
Nice. My name's Jim Zub. I'm a comic book writer and D&D fanatic. On the newly announced, actually, just last week, we announced a new series at Marvel. The Thunderbolts are coming back. I'm going to be writing Hawkeye. I'm writing Monica Rambeau, America Chavez, and a team of incredible heroes in the Marvel Universe. I just finished up a run on Conan the Barbarian and D&D Mindbreaker, which is a prequel to Baldur's Gate 3, the video game. Our last issue just came out. So if you've been reading the official D&D comics, make sure you're all caught up with Minsk and Boo and crew. It has been an absolute joy to do some of these streams and to also work on Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons with our host, Pat Rothfuss. I just released Troy and I did a one-shot special called The Meeseeks Adventure that you can also track down at your favorite local comic book shop. I'm thrilled to be back here again playing Clive the Caring, the kindest soul of a dragonborn cleric who worships the glorious Queen of Heaven and is, as our new chapter takes hold, he's a little bit confused.
I keep looking over there because I have Rick and Morty versus D&D is right over there. Like I can see it. So like you mention it and I'm like, it's over there. But like you don't know that. Yeah. One last thing before we dive in, Pat, would you like to say something about the new Worldbuilders endeavor? Because let me tell y'all something here. I need you to understand. I do not play a Ventru, I am a Ventru. So when we start talking, I'm like, Pat, how are we gonna raise some money off of this? And he's like, we don't have to right now. And I'm like, I literally don't understand those words. So while we have everyone's attention, let's at least raise awareness. And bits and subs are always appreciated and accepted. Yes.
So what I'll say is, Worldbuilders, a lot of people know us mostly for our big end of year fundraiser. Last year was a very good, thanks to in no small part, the people here with me today helping raise awareness. Absolutely knocked over $1 million and didn't even have to sweat it at the end. But also, all of that money we raise goes directly to, in the interest of perfect honesty, minus small credit card fees, but then we send it all to Afro International. But Worldbuilders, has a facility. It produces merchandise for creators. It pays its artists, and it has employees, and they also need food and money for mortgages. And because of that, and because we want this all to be sustainable and healthy for everyone, as well as making the world a better place, we've started things. Apparently you should have a budget for a business with employees. They tell me this, and for a budget you should have consistent income and not sort of random donations sort of around. So we've started something called the Worldbuilders Architects Program, which is to say, if you like what Worldbuilders does in the world and you want to help us build a better, sustainable Worldbuilders, and you like our fundraisers, you can give us a little money every month, and then you get the newsletter. You get sort of a heads up about projects. We are going to make a tote bag which is probably, given the sentiment of the community, going to actually be a goat bag, because there's a lot of sustainable farming things going on. We love the goats. And access to the Worldbuilders Minecraft server, etc., goodies, and whatever. And since this is our first year, if you want to donate to that, you can be part of like a founding architect and really help us show, sort of shape what this program will be. So my mods will, yeah, and I see there, my mods have already been dropping the link in the chat. So if you would like to jump on board and help us do what we do, and this is one of the things we do, is bring together cool geeks who want to make the world a better place. You can sign up for Architects and get what will be our very first newsletter coming out very soon, because I just really put the polish on that draft. The end. Also, I'm playing Lucient. All you need to know about him is he's very emo and sexier than Sephiroth.
You know,
and I'm gonna stick to that. I'm never
as the brain struggles to conceive. Like I don't know. I don't understand how. How dare you make him a sexier emo Sephiroth?
I'm sorry, sexier and more emo than Sephiroth. I do want that inclusive.
Let me just say this one last thing, if we're going to get in here. Worldbuilders is very near and dear to my heart, because this charity is, at the risk of sounding cliche, it's that old thing of teach a person to fish, or give a person a fish, you feed them once, teach them to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. Worldbuilders builds infrastructure and communities to make a life-saving difference to people. A little bit of money goes much, much further than you think. So this work that you all are doing and your donations and generosity here have literally saved and changed lives. And that's beautiful. Unfortunately, it may not save your characters' lives here today. To recap, the story began for you all when the war was over. Most of you were generals on the front lines of the conflict, serving with distinction and bringing your final remaining foe, the Empire of Saige, to its knees, crushing it utterly. You realize very soon afterwards that perhaps everything that you'd been told about the Great Dragon and the Empire of Kadan, that she formed the sprawling jewel of culture and civilization that you all would take to every corner of the world, perhaps wasn't the whole truth of things. Perhaps in the eyes of many, you all were the greatest scourge after all, and in time you came to blows with not just your leader, your god, the great dragon Glycinder, and through your combined might and the assistance of some other gods, were able to defeat her finally, and freedom rung out through the land. Unfortunately, along with that freedom came everything that the dragon's power was keeping in check was unleashed once again. Regional conflicts sprung up everywhere. Would-be gods, because in this world, the path of godhood comes from your notoriety, from the number of people that know your name, how many people worship you, how many people fear you. And in that, many of you have seen your own power grow as your legend is grown, as the name Timpani is whispered in hushed tones, usually between trembling breaths and bathhouses and brothels.
I did forget I took a level in horny last time.
More than one level.
We all kissing.
Yeah, we kissing, bro.
Vatra had small offerings hung in trees to her, whittled and hung as prayers were offered up to the spirits. Mossbrow, who stood in his grove unmoving for a year, allowing birds to bathe in the bird bath that is in the depression on the top of his head, awoke to find gifts and offerings and prayers strewn all about his feet and elsewhere. Although you have not seen them in some time, Harith and Pernicus also experienced their own adoration and saw their power and legend grow, until it came to your attention as a tug at your heart called all of you back to the central city of Kadan, the capital of the empire, where a new god had taken over, with new agents like Clive the Caring and Nizetta, whose ultimate history and agenda has yet to truly be revealed, came face to face with the Queen of Heaven. And those of you that have suffered under the boot of one despot god were fully prepared to displace her as well, especially when it was revealed that she actually was the god of Silentium, your old enemy, the one you fought against rapidly to bring low, was here again, and yet she seemed changed. Not just the fact that half of her skull, or half of her face was burned down to the skull, but that she seemed to have had a change of heart, that the process and collective trauma of having her empire and her people killed and scattered to the wind, somehow in the midst of that, she'd had a change of heart somehow, that she had realized the error of her own ways and found peace in her own heart, and shared with all of you that being a god is much, much harder than you think. And if you think you can do it, she is fully prepared to let you. And with that, we come back to the High Temple of Kadan. The city is carved into the side of the volcano that Glycinder once occupied. It stretches all the way from one side of the mountain in the harbor all the way to the other side of the mountain, in a broad sweeping plain, still scorched and broken from conflict, stretches out before the city. The joy and light of Kadan had begun to diminish as Lucian's songs echoed throughout the kingdom. The true history that could not be suppressed by lies and misdirections and state-sponsored versions of events that, quite frankly, you all had been tasked with enforcing previously. The songs and legends of Lucian and his timeless, tragic, fated love had spread far and wide, but there was a time of no music. There was a time of no singing, no song, no joy. But it's coming back. Those white tabards of the Queen of Heaven had begun appearing all over the city, and it seemed like the people were just beginning to breathe again. And now, here, high above, in the temple, overlooking everyone, we rejoin our heroes as she stands before you with her hands extended. Truly.
When you said godhood, when you spoke of the deity, the power, you mean for us to serve you, of course, to spread the word of your great deeds and help to bring peace to the land. Am I not mistaken?
Please be mistaken.
Clive.
Yes.
You have served me with
yes,
honor.
Yes.
And with distinction and with care. It is time for you to grow to the next stage, the difference that you can make in lives, the people you can help, the light you can bestow. I can't believe that I am saying this, my friend, but she turns you slightly. You should be more like the satyr. And he sort of nods at Timpani.
Just sort of looked at you, he goes, no, I don't understand though, but gods are gods and mortals and humans and creatures are beneath. How could you expect that we could carry such godhood within?
You all already experience great and tremendous power. The natural world bows before Vatra. Mossbrow radiates divine energy and may well already be immortal. Lucian's song and word move hearts and minds with but a flick of his lute. And Nizetta, she walks over and she moves your hair to the side slightly, Nizetta. She says, you have had the most interesting path of everyone to arrive at this moment. I assure you all, you would not be here if you did not deserve it. But
I'm tired
make
of
no,
following gods. I'm over
Then-
it. We got lied to. That sucked. I don't want to be following anybody anymore. I want them to I want to be the person who knows the things.
that is exactly what I am offering you, my small friend. And she kneels down, Vatra, and she looks you in the eye and she says, if you have the will and the strength to succeed in the task that lay before you, you will be the one that knows things. You will be the one that people follow. Honestly, you already are.
Yeah, I think we could do that. I don't know. Nothing makes any sense anymore. Why not?
We can do a lot of things that aren't good for us or anyone else. It's not an issue of if.
You know what is?
I'm not saying no, mind you.
I have a question for the Queen of Heaven. Is this an offer of more power only, or does this gift that you offer us bestow knowledge that we do not currently possess?
She stands up and she reaches out like she's going to touch your chest right over your heart, but she stops at the last second, Moss Brown. She looks at you and she says, may I?
I don't have a heart, but you're welcome to touch my armor.
And she does put her hand on you and remind us what Moss Brow looks like, because Moss Brow is very unique.
Oh, Mossbrow is basically a group of dryads and sprites and nymphs and unicorns found the armor of an old deceased knight in the woods that had like rusted over many, many years and animated like trees and plants and stones. So it's part of an old piece of full plate with like just the breastplate and then one sort of gauntlet and sword arm. And then the legs are sort of tree trunks, and the left forearm and the head are like dolmen stones, menhirs. So instead of a shield, he's got this giant oversized, swingy stone left arm with no hand on it. And then his head is a big old Hey Arnold wide stone with the eyes set very far apart on the head and like moss and a little bird bath on top. So he's like a druidic knight construct, like a sylvan iron giant is sort of the vibe. That's Mossbrow.
The Hey Arnold descriptor was just like,
There you
It's
go.
always so spot on.
We're of an age. I just remembered that Julia drew all of you last time. I actually just retweeted the picture to get an idea what you all look like.
Oh, incredible.
Julia's incredible. Shout out to her. Give Julia a follow.
Amazing.
Mossbrow. She touches your chest where you would have a heart. Where there's still something good in there, because clearly, look at you. And she just sort of closes her eyes for a moment and she says, I made the mistake of thinking it was just about power, as so many others have in the past. And to be sure, power is a part of it, if only to have the strength to defend those that count on you, as you have strength now. Knowledge, wisdom, perspective. It all comes along with just taking the step of the journey.
So that's no
My
extra
question-
knowledge.
Yes, my question is, does the gift contain blind power, or does the gift contain the ability to more greatly apprehend and understand the world that we reside in?
I would like to believe that, yes. But as you all have seen firsthand, godhood in and of itself does not automatically convey wisdom. You will understand many more things. Yes, in Timpani, you can create a number of demigods if you so wish.
Okay, I don't like when people read my mind, but thank you for answering a very pressing question.
She does turn and look at you, and she smiles, which is actually slightly unsettling, considering just how wounded half of her face is. But her eye is warm when she looks at you, and she says, I didn't need to read your mind to understand where it was going to go.
Okay. All right. I contain multitudes. And I
Indeed
just
you do.
shyly back behind Mossbrow.
And she turns and she looks at you, Nazetta, and she says, Are you ready for this, my child?
Nazetta is going to take out of her pocket, so a little Mossbrow figure that the little kid was holding last time.
Mothbrow.
And she's like, I think they can do it. They can do it. I believe. I think I'll be a protector. All that matters is that they can do it.
She puts her hand on your shoulder, and she leans very close and says in your ear, You wouldn't be here if you're not ready. You'll have the choice, but you have earned this.
I'm gonna kind of move my shoulder away. Look, these people looking towards Vatra and Timpani and Mossbrow and Lucian. They saved everybody. They're the heroes. And I'm pulling out of my pockets more like the little Vatra.
Merchandise. She's got the full spread.
Yeah, I got all of it. I'm pulling it out of my pocket.
All the Happy Meal toys. Where did these come from?
Hey, look, I know that you, like most people, have heard the story of the ending of what we did, but there was so much before that. And it was not good, apparently. So I think it kind of balances out, honestly. Maybe the ending was important. I've figured that out. It's important to people and it mattered, and that's wonderful. I'm glad we mattered. But we were the problem we had to fix.
Oh yeah, there's villages where we are cautionary tales for children. We're the things that show up in the night if they misbehave. But I'm glad you have our merch.
I'll hold it all in my hands. You're already gods to us, to my people. I just am here. I mean, of course, when I saw you guys, I couldn't resist following you. But me, I'll do whatever it takes to see that you guys are successful. And I'm hugging my little Mossbrow doll.
Wow. Just echoes on the wind.
I'm gonna.
Wow.
Is that a tiny caricature of me?
I'm gonna start slowly putting it away. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. There's a lot of these around where I'm from.
Oh.
I'm gonna
interesting.
pull it back out. Do you want to see it? I think it's a pretty good recreation.
You got the dip in the top of your head just right.
Yeah.
A very small me.
So I'm looking over at the Queen of Heaven now, and I go, and so you were mortal once. Is that what you're saying? This is messing with his mind and his faith and everything that he thought he knew about this god.
I was manifested. And she motions to the sky where you can see clouds forming. And she's like, I condensed, I coalesced. My people offered their prayers long enough and fervently enough that they combined and connected and became me. Glycinder, as you know, was once a hatchling. You've all seen the tale of how she saved the earliest people of these lands and watched over them and blah, 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 blah. Some of the gods started just like you. Some started much differently. Your Sorry, I still have ashes in my lungs. Your elemental friend was once simply a mountain, but the people over time began to believe that it was a sacred one, and one day he stood and spoke and walked. So, Clive, this does not have to be a crisis of faith for you, my friend. This is just the next step of the journey. It's going to be fine.
I see.
Is your nature changed by the people who believe in you?
See, she looks very sad for a second, and she says, the people who believed in me are mostly gone, as I think you well know.
You don't have
Then
to
what
bring
is
it
all
up every
this?
time.
And I just sort of sweep my arm and I'm pointing at the white banners and I'm pointing at the city that's emblazoned with the Queen of Heaven. What is this if not worship? What is this if not glory and purpose and faith?
Vatra in Timpani referred to the fact that they did things that they're not proud of, that they're places that they are cautionary tales. Honestly, you could say the same for me. I led my people to the best of my ability. I protected them to the best of my ability, and we did battle, and we were largely victorious. I'm sure those people do not think of me and mine kindly. In Mossbrow, there was a moment when I lay broken, when I lay defeated, that I had a branching path. I could give way to oblivion and just die. I could let hate consume my heart and become obsessed with revenge and vengeance and become something much worse. Or I could walk the path of redemption, which is what I've tried to do. So, I don't know if the people changed me or not, or if I changed myself. The truth is, I do not know.
Very troubling. I mean to say only that my nature is unchanging. But if a god is created by its believers, and the belief of those believers changes, and the god changes as well, it would mean that by accepting this gift, I would put my very nature at the mercy of those who believed me. And I hold the little moss brow aloft and I say, this would become the first me. And then I point at myself and say, this would become the second me.
Mossbrow, you guys are good. You guys won't ever. I mean, you guys won't change. There's many of us that already worship you guys.
You think about us, but even that influences people. This is many roads. There's. I mean, we've all spent enough time together. I know how many stories you know, if only because I have told them to you folks. Like some gods accrete, some change. All of the gods, whether they're real or stories or they used to be real, you've heard so many variations on these themes. But the truth is, and I kind of look at Mossbrow and I say, what we're being given is an opportunity. And and this is obviously kind of a question. Like, I'm next to Mossbrow and I'm like, I have no confidence in our ability to do this right.
Speak for yourself.
But I don't have any more confidence in anyone else. And so to walk away from it merely means that someone else is going to have to stand in the fire. And at the very least, I feel forewarned. And I am weary of power. And that's not nothing. And you, but Mossbrow, what do you think? I would trust your gut here. If you think this is unwise, I would like to know that now.
She actually holds her hand up and says, before you answer, Sir Mothsbrow, because I know you will commit to your word, perhaps I should show you what is before you and what it is that you must do.
Yes, finally. Wait, we have to do things?
It's like, oh, sorry, Timpani. I didn't know I was keeping you from something.
Honestly, you should know that about me.
We were all
I've
kind of
got
kissing
people to
before
see.
this.
Yep. I had a busy day.
Don't know that it's going to get any better, but it is definitely about to get busier. Unfortunately, as you all realize, Glycinder, for her numerous faults, was a bit of a stopgap in the world. She did maintain order. Whether or not those methods were noble is neither here nor there. They were effective, and without her, many eat away at the land. And she points towards the eastern horizon. And when she points, it's like you all see it. It's almost like it zooms. Like you just, your vision goes out across the east. And you see a huge creature that is stomping through the wilderness. It stands almost 200 feet tall. Vatra, it is destroying whole groves of woods. And it stops and it turns and sees a village in the clearing. It just picks up speed and charges and just starts smashing the buildings and destroying things and knocking them over. And you see people screaming and running in all directions. And it's not eating them, it's just destroying things. And it stands over the wreckage for a second and just looks and turns and sees off in the distance a larger town and starts walking. And she says, in the east, this huge beast has awakened from the earth. It seeks destruction for destruction's sake. The people that are in its wake have no chance against it if they try and fight it on their own. It will only be some form of divine intervention that saves them. She points north, and you all see fire. It is like a rampaging blaze has swept over the land, so much so that you can't even quite tell. Was it woods? Was it a beach? Was it a valley? You can't say. It is just fire everywhere. And you start to hear screams. And a moment later, a figure steps out of the flames with purple skin and a broadsword that bends and twists at unnatural angles that shouldn't be able to exist. And he just looks around and sort of scratches his chest and laughs for a second. And you hear him say, well, this seems as good a place as any to get started. And he motions and creatures come bounding out of the fire after him, charging forward into the land. She turns and looks to the west, and you see there are skeletons, zombies, dead people wearing the uniforms of Kadan, of Salage, of the countless enemy nations that you all defeated, are up and marching down the road in a formation. They have their weapons in their hands, but many of them still have arrows and swords sticking out of them. And you see they're carrying a gondola that is made out of corpses. and up on it you see a robed person whose skin is pale and sunken in, and their eyes are sunken. Their skin is almost skeletal on their hands. And as you all see him, he looks up and he sees you. And you see a flash in his eyes that you know is just pure evil. And she finally turns to the south behind you, where you see, honestly, Mossbrow, it almost looks like someone has built a version of you, but much, much larger. It's 50 feet tall, and it is not made of odds and ends and parts. It is made of contiguous metal pieces that fit together perfectly, but its head is not so dissimilar to yours, including the dent in the top. And there is a huge cannon on its back, and it is just walking forward. And you can hear like cogs, and it doesn't say anything, and it doesn't seem to register you. And she looks at it and she says, even interlopers from other planes of existence are aware that this one is ripe for the taking now. And all of you are right back here again, your consciousness. And she says, all of these things are happening right now. What would you do? How will you solve this? How will you protect the people?
Vatra doesn't move at all, but Kitty behind her, behind her, she literally goes back and forth between the names, just like grows a little bit standing behind her, and the flames kind of raise a little higher directly behind her back.
I turn to Lucien.
I spent some part of the beginning of this audience with the Queen of Heaven, asking questions. My choice was never going to be different. I just wanted to know how sad to be.
I step forward and kneel before the Queen and say,
I accept your gift.
Nizetta's cheering.
I want to grab Nizetta's hand and be like, you're part of this.
I step up next to Mossbrow, and I like Mossbrow kneeling is probably as tall as Lucien, so I can probably just reach out and put my hand on his shoulder like I can't normally. And I look at her and I say, everyone here probably thinks this is a gift, but you know better and I know better. You're asking. And so...
We can hear you.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's all in the diaphragm. I know. So if you're asking something of me, I get to ask something of you. We're right? This is a trade?
You see, she stops and she considers for a second. She looks at you, Lucien, and she says, power doesn't prevent loss, Lucien.
I know. And I'm probably not going to ask for what you think.
If it is within my power.
Oh. You will always tell me the perfect and entire truth. Swear it on your name and power, and I will always do the same for you. And then I'm in.
I'll go to the opposite side of Timpani, and I'll take Nizetta's other hand and like pull forward to step up towards Mossbrow. I think with my inferior height, I should not have to take a knee.
I do want to extend my other hand to Clythe, though.
There is nothing inferior about your height, Vatra. You are perfectly formed for what it is you do.
I'm holding their hands like kind of like, oh, wow, this is okay.
This is a lot.
So
I'll follow you guys wherever.
Yeah, I'm looking at the assembled group there, and I just go and I say, "In goodness, we must retain perspective of goodness." And then I grab your hand. And support.
I walk over and I also don't drop a knee because I don't kneel.
Man, you sure, Tiffany?
Hey, look, I didn't kneel to Glycinder, and where is she now?
You see, she just looks at all of you and smiles, and she puts her hand on the top of your head, Mossbrow, and she says, I never would have imagined the day that I would be so honored to stand before you all. But, as you can see, the state of things is calamitous. What will you all do? This is your test.
I think we should stay together.
As much as there is evil in 4 cardinal directions, if we can, it's best not to split up and fail, best to succeed one after the other.
Let's stay together and fail, like we always have.
That's wonderful.
You guys don't fail. No, you guys don't fail. No. Don't tell lies, Lucian.
Well, what would you all like to do? There are undead hordes to the east, devils invading to the north, a great beast of chaos to the west, and an odd construct to the south.
If Mossbrow is one of these to be worshipped, we would not want his deification to begin with the permutation of that, with evil intent, that someone would think that he is behind such a thing to the south. We must lay it low and prove his heroism.
I look at Mossbrow and see what his like absolute poker face Mossbrow, but I've known him for a while. I want to see what Mossbrow's like nonverbal reaction to that statement is.
Mossbrow is regarding this like little Mossbrow in his hand and Clive talking about like a permutation of him. And I think Lucian's known me for so long. There's always been things that Mossbrow just didn't get. And I think that you're realizing now, like Mossbrow has shown absolutely no guilt over their horrible past. It's important to remember that Mossbrow, being as like sweet a being as he is deeply inhuman and doesn't regard his past and doesn't live with an idea of himself in his head. So when this person's like, this guy's copying your style, Mossbrow's sort of like, I style whatever you say, and it's like okay, like he looked at an image of himself and was sort of like, you know, like Nazetta handing him an image of himself was sort of like someone being like, what do you think of this, and handing you like neo-cubist art if you've never seen like a fridge painting. You're like, oh, sure, all right, it's a little me. Like I can only see exactly what it is. I can't grok the meaning of it. So I think I look up and go, all right, that might be true. I want to be careful. The beast was destroying buildings, and that's not good. And the devils were burning huge swaths of our natural resources, and that's not good. I don't know if we actually saw the construct or the undead hurt anybody. I just want to make sure we don't pop off.
Good, you got it. You got that right.
I love Mossbrow. Why don't we go save the people who were actively dying?
Okay.
Yes, let's save the actively dying people.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Is that to the
west?
Yes.
I do want to say
the beast was in the west.
I love sort of what organized itself here, and I don't know if y'all are seeing it like I see it. The camera's in the back, and the Queen of Heaven is up there, and Mossbrow went and kneeled in front of her, and then slowly everyone assembled around this kneeling Mossbrow, and I'm like, what a tableau, what an image you know, and everyone steps up and says their little thing, but you're seeing them all from the back. Like, what? We're good at this, people. This is awesome.
I don't know if you all have considered a career in TTRPG. Maybe I can vouch for you.
Yeah.
You're weaving a beautiful visual here. Yes.
Yeah.
As the Queen of Heaven says, I will assist you to the best of my ability. You are not without friends and not without influence. When you are prepared to move, simply call to me and I will help you. And she holds her hand up in the same way you kind of like saw, like your vision expanded. You see the air sort of shimmers, and on the other side of it, you can see this creature just rampaging. She's like, step through and you will be there.
I'm going to turn to Vatra and say,
I see often, my friend, that you wrestle with the echoes of our past. Perhaps this beast might be reasoned with, and I know that you speak with the voice of wild things if you wish.
Yeah. Maybe fire is not the answer. You might be right, Mossbrow.
It still might be. So let's on a
It's all part of the toolkit. Can we go now? We've talked so much and I hate it.
Before we go through, I want to like grab the queen's hand. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That's Timpani.
Just
not
like
Aabria.
you guys can go through.
I think Timpani says that over her shoulder as she moves through it.
I'm gonna go touch this beast quick. Bye.
I just want to say, I'm gonna look at her. I don't believe in you. You're not one of my gods. But that does not mean that you're not a god to somebody else. That doesn't mean that you don't have power. And I'm gonna step through.
She doesn't say anything. She just like nods slowly.
For the first time ever in her presence, I don't actually acknowledge her when I leave.
Ghost. Gonna ghost the Queen of Heaven.
Fucking ghost the Queen of Heaven.
Everyone goes through.
I'll go through. I go through last, and then after they're through, I look back and I say, "Don't think I didn't notice that you didn't answer me, but you will." And then I step through. Yeah.
You all are, again, you all know this land very well. Vatra, you realize that this is, even at the height of the Empire, this would have been frontier. It is just rugged wilderness that is basically not part of the Empire of Kairos, essentially. That there is only a few towns and villages around here, and there's only one settlement of note that is kind of occupied year-round because it gets really cold out here. But you realize it's not far away. There's probably 500 people that live there, and this thing that is massive. It is, again, it's about 200 feet tall. It is covered in bony armor plates. It has a row of spikes down its back and gigantic horns, and its claws are so long they drag the treetops as it's walking. And Vatra, you know for sure it is headed in the direction of the large human settlement that is out here. The name of the place escapes you currently. You really came here more for the trees. In fact, you kind of kept track of where the people were so that they wouldn't bother you, but they are over there.
You said how much of a distance is between us?
You're a couple hundred feet away when you come out. Basically, she didn't want to drop you out, have it be like, rah!
Thank you for not dropping us at the feet of the beast. Yeah, Vatra, I think you see the like kind of soldier instincts in her immediately click in and take over, and her and Kevin kind of take to like a formation where he takes directly to her back right behind her shoulder, and she just picks up running in the direction of the beast.
For the record, what does Vatra look like? Especially for people that haven't had a chance to see Jody's wonderful art. In fact, you know what? We know Mossbrow. Let's just get the quick descriptions from everybody. What does Vatra look like?
Yeah, Vatra is 3 feet tall. She has various natural kind of like tattoos that form across the like coming from her ears and down her nose. That look like they were very hand-drawn and markings that are completely abstract. She has long, dirty blonde hair that goes all the way to the ground, and it usually has little kind of like sticks and twigs in it. She looks relatively dirty most of the time. Like she spends a lot of time just kind of sitting in the dirt in nature, and her hair drags behind her. And always with her is her wildfire spirit. Usually a druid would summon it and take it away, but she keeps it more as a companion with her, and it's stands at about 4 feet on all fours most of the time, towering over her. And it's a large tiger made of fire that kind of flicks into the wind as it moves.
Excellent. And Clive?
Clive is a dragonborn. He's a copper dragonborn, wearing all the raiments that you would expect from someone who worships the Queen of Heaven. So there's this white and gold sort of fringe on it. And he generally keeps it quite immaculate in nature. He's got a small backpack that he wears, and he's also carrying he's got a small mace that he's sort of got lashed to his belt there as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Nazetta?
Yeah, so Nazetta kind of looks how I do today. Short black hair, pointy elf ears, tall, slender, in a very colorful, like robe cloak with a hood that's pretty much always up. I don't have it up right now, but pretty much always up. And yeah, they're colorful, but they can the way that the robe is weaved, it has like dark patterns so that they can kind of blend into shadows really easily.
Excellent. And Timpani?
Timpani is a tall, jet black satyr with long, like fluffy white hair. She wears a bunch of like ornamental gold jewelry because she's been super leaning into this like hero goddess vibe, and wears like loose wrapped black robes. And yeah, her right eye, which is very goat-like, kind of flickers between like that sort of gold color people and purple as a part of her warlock pact.
The description of Mothbrow we already got, and the impossible characteristics of Lucient of a more beautiful, the mind reels at the concept. I will say, as you all come out and you see Vatra take off into the woods, you can't help but notice, even out here on the far frontier, there are a few Vatra relics, even in the trees this far out, as people have been hanging them up to the protector of the wildlands. She's running. What are the rest of you doing?
I was waiting on the far side of the gate to catch everyone with Rary's telepathic bond again, because I'm the comms friend. Like, hi, we're all in the group chat. Is everyone here? Good. Good.
So good.
I'm still holding Timpani's hand.
Like, then I would have dragged you through when I got bored with us talking to a god that I don't care about.
Well, I probably said that as you're. I came through and grabbed your hand again. This is really exciting for me. I'm still holding your hand, waiting for whatever you want to do.
We're gonna run. You good with that?
Yeah, let's go.
So as everyone's going through and assembled, you just cast the group chat. I will cast Beacon of Hope. So any number of creatures within range for the duration, you've got advantage on wisdom saving throws, death saving throws, and regain the maximum number of hit points from any healing, which I'm sure I will also be providing at some future juncture.
That's so romantic of you. Thank you.
Just this wonderful, comforting, glowing light starts to emanate from Clive. Clive the caring.
I'm going to hit myself with haste and a weird stone hoop bound by vines raises up from my back so that it sort of levels out, and which is basically just like a druidic jet engine on my back. I don't have wings. I fly with like a weird rune helix in an old piece of old granite hoop.
That is awesome.
Remember, we're going to try to address this non-violently, but as Timpani has often said to me, Shit happens.
I'm gonna look at the Zeta and just grab onto Moss as he takes off. Like, we're doing this.
All right.
I'm just saying, Moss Brow, Arinda still wants the rematch. You know, from when you did the Sky Goddess. She's like, got lucky last time.
Yeah, Mossbrow. I don't know how to justify this, but Mossbrow simultaneously does and does not have swagger with that. So it is just like, sure thing, yeah, for sure.
Excellent. And Lucien, I believe you're about to say something.
Actually, if there is like the moment at the gate when we all come out and everyone sort of boots up, I bring the harp out, which in terms of special effect, I kind of think a lot of the spells are kind of music based, although they're just the same as spells with somatic components. But I will, I'll probably like quit, hit, and tune a little bit because there's a lot of strings, and then it's like 1, 2, 3. You hit those chords like right at the beginning of the song. And you know that's the moment where like the bard like inspires you, and it's like, okay, like let's get hyped up. And instead he is he goes, well, and that's all he's got. He does not have any words or even like a quip or a sarcastic little thing. And he's like, let's do our best. And then he hits another chord, and it's a minor chord, but anyone who wants to can take a level of bardic inspiration. I have enough for one for everyone if they want it.
Nice.
And those are D12s, right, Pat?
Those are D12s.
Hell
Yeah,
yes.
he's a big bard. I will say, Clive and Nazetta, the number one thing the two of you noticed that up until now, they've all been chatty. You've kind of spent the morning together. There was a makeout session. You know, there was a blasphemy to the face of a deity. So be it. But this was the first time that you all are really seeing that the stories about them are true. Like they come through the portal and it's like they start moving like the fingers on a hand. They don't say anything. They don't coordinate. It's like, like it's time as they go towards this thing. Vatra, I know the intent was to let Vatra go first, so while we're still out of initiative, what is it that Vatra intends to do? Because so far it does not seem either this thing hasn't seen you, or if it has, it hasn't reacted.
It's currently still smashing towards like civilians, right?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I would like to cast Druid Grove, and I would like to summon Grove Guardians. So since I'm running through the forest, I'm going to animate 4 trees and send them to try and protect some of the buildings within the village up ahead, and yell to usher people inside of them, and put like a tree at the door of 4 buildings.
So to be clear, you intend to have them essentially move ahead of you, not to engage this beast.
Correct. Yes, they are
Right.
to be
Okay.
protectors.
You all see as she's moving, just spontaneously, some of the trees get up out of the ground and look at her and look towards the town and go kind of like bust off at a 90-degree angle, running through the woods.
And then I'm going to continue running in. How far is everyone behind me?
You got little legs, and Moss Brow's very fast, so
I'm probably pretty caught up then.
yeah, like it's kind of like everybody's like kind of like slowing down a little bit. And you're like,
I'll then turn to Mossbrow and just go, we try to reason first. Right? Okay, great. I will try that.
Remember,
and I want to.
we are heroes. We are here to save all beings. And one of the best ways to save a being is to encourage it not to fight us.
That's a very good point, and I think we should live by that. And I'll get pretty close to the beast. Is this one large beast?
It is one single. I mean, it is
How big is it?
gargantuan. It is
Voluminous.
gargantuous. It's 200 feet tall. It is almost
It's a
incomprehensibly big.
baby. Okay.
Do you intend? So to be clear, do you intend to get close enough for it to until it regards you or acknowledges you, or close enough to, like how close are you trying to get to it?
So I do have a plan, and I've done multiple things, so I want to give everybody a chance to get in there. But I would like to get, within 60 feet and try to dominate the beast.
Oh, this is my kind of game.
So you're saying you're a dominatrix? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. I am 3 foot tall.
When you, so again, this is actually pretty thick forest. The only breaks in the forest are where it has walked, because it is just crushing trees the whole way. So when you close in and you realize you get within about 120 feet of it, Vatra, you see it stops and it turns and like comes around and is like scanning the ground, and you all can see it actively sniffing, looking in your direction. Vatra, give me either perception or nature, whichever is higher.
Okay. And I will let everybody know that I'm going to get in there, so I don't draw its attention without the entire group knowing.
You got the group chat.
It was perception or nature. Let's see.
Whichever's higher.
Oh, I have advantage on perception.
Let's go.
But I'm really good at no, I'm not good at nature at all. Why didn't I get good at nature? I'm a druid
ever.
I'm a fire druid. It's fine. We're not really connected.
Yeah, you're like wood burns. I get it. Yeah, right. And then you got
That's
the
a 23.
You got the freaking paladin that just lives in a grove as a bird feeder, and the druid that's like,
Nature,
I believe.
nature.
Yeah.
It's a 23 for perception, though.
When it turns and looks in every direction, Vatra, you've seen all manner of creature. You've seen all manner of monster, man, beast, sentient, and everything in between. You don't see evil in its eyes as it's looking. It's like it's just, you don't even see anger. It's just, it's an animal. There's no there. As this, but it is looking for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm in like Delta flight pattern overhead and I look down to Vatra, and we have the telepathic thing from Timpani,
Group
right?
chat.
So I'm going to say, "Dear Vatra, hello, it is your friend. I am currently flying in a circle with Nazetta and Timpani up in the sky. I would say altitude 1,250 feet. I'm going to say, if you have this spell, I know that you have the ability to prepare this spell, but if you did not prepare it today, I do have Speak with Animals prepared.
I do have Speak with Animals, but I also have Literal Dominate Beast, and I could charm it and have a telepathic link with it. If we were talking about this as like some sort of game. If we were talking about things like spells.
Hey guys, my nose is bleeding and I don't know why.
Oh, sorry. Let me get an altitude mask.
A little too high altitude.
Yeah.
Getting lightheaded. You're like frost sickles on Tim.
If you want to try speaking to it first before I try to take over its brain, that might not be a bad idea at all, actually.
Well, I'll say, I think that perhaps you should be the one to speak to it first, because that's a good order to do things in. I always find conversation first, then mind control. And
okay. So yeah, I mostly prepared mind control.
Okay, understood. So I'll come do conversation first, and then we know that we have that mind control up our sleeve. Lucient, you should be, if you want to be in the wings for when Vatra goes for the mind control, and that way you can deliver a pithy quick. In the past, I have seen absolutely devastate our opponent's ability to resist spell casting.
To throw in my special effect, I do think because I fly as well as part of the harp, but it's magneto flight, so standing up flight. And I'll be on deck. How do you feel, B Dave? Because I know traditional D&D, we take turns, everyone does their own thing. While she's talking, how would you feel about me like doing animal friendship, which it doesn't do communication, but it's like, hey, animal, I am not a threat.
Yeah, because we have yet to enter initiative, you all can kind of do stuff. If we enter initiative, then yeah, it becomes way more linear.
Okay, because it's mostly like I'm not looking to do that as my own thing. It's like, oh, as part of the team, if she's going to talk, I want to, and it's a very basic spell, but I could cast it higher in order to sort of be like, hey, me and my people are not. Normally, it lets you affect like more target animals. Could I instead cast it at a higher level to say more of us are not a threat? Okay.
So it is.
I'm gonna drop a bardic inspiration on Mossbrow too, just as we're going down. Like, you got this, buddy. And I kiss him on the forehead.
I'm gonna kind of yell up to Mossbrow. Mossbrow, can you like go a little lower? Just a little bit.
It's so cold.
Oh,
lower.
I'm dying.
I triangulated it that I would hit terminal velocity on the first strike.
Okay.
So that's what the altitude was about. Also, I have to go even higher because this guy's like 200 feet tall.
My nose is running.
Can I drop? Can you just let me down for like a sec?
Oh, sure. I know that you see the engine go, and I just begin to plummet out of the sky.
Just a rock from
I am
orbit.
screaming and laughing like, whoa, we're gonna die.
Yes, Dezetta, what would you like to do?
I want to hide behind like a tree or something just to be ready in case this all goes wrong to step out and do some rogue shit. So yeah.
Perfect.
Are there
roll your stealth check? Just keep it handy for when I need it there. Yes, Clive.
Are there injured people about as well that I can like heal or try and protect?
Currently, you're in between places. Like you saw it destroy like a little village when she showed it to you, and now it is on the way to the larger one, but it has not arrived yet.
Okay. Just want to make sure that there weren't like active people that I could save
like
here.
the only ones actively in danger at this exact second is you guys. So yes, Mossbrow, what would you like to do? As you have descended, and as you come out of the sky, you presumably you're trying to do this out of arm's reach of this thing, right?
Yeah, I'll get in front of it, but a good distance in front of it.
When you come down out of the clouds, Vatra, you do see it stops looking in your direction and very much turns towards you, and like its tail sweeps out and knocks down a bunch of trees.
Does trees have legs or?
No, there's trees.
Lucient, can I also, in addition to that bardic inspiration I got from you, can I also grab, because you've done animal friendship on this thing, can I also get a help action on a persuasion check from you?
100. Yeah, that seems like a good,
What is Lucient going to do to help with the persuasion?
What I'm going to do is misquote something that is famously misquoted. It is music soothes the savage beast. That's not the quote, but I'm going to say it is. So I am playing this music. I'm effectively accompanying him, a gentle, soothing, friendly beast song.
I cast Speak with Animals, and I stand before the beast, very happy to be made of extremely non-food items, and I go in speaking in the speech of beasts. Go,
hello, friendly creature. You are very large compared to this ecosystem. Is there a place you would like to rest, or are you looking for food or any other needs?
You see it looks at you, and it kind of looks down like it's confused, and it looks at you again and just turns its head.
I will... I'm not 100% that this thing speaks the language of beasts.
It seems like it understands you, but it doesn't say anything. It's just like,
okay. I will make. Can I make an insight check into this creature to see if I can gather what it wants or like what it's going for?
And you can roll with advantage.
Thank you. 19 on the die. Timpani, what are your bardic inspirations?
D12.
Yours are D12s as well. Okay.
Yep.
Let me go.
There's some very bardy bards.
I get some very bardy bards in here. That's great. Okay, that's going to be a 25 on my insight check.
You know, Mossbrow, you've actually spent more time outside than Vatra because you were literally outside for 24 hours a day for a couple of years.
Yeah, we learned I'm no good at nature.
you're
I'm like, shit, I've never even been outside.
you're just imagine you're this filthy and you have like a really great apartment.
No, it's a 0. It's a 0 in nature.
Oh my God, shut up.
It's a 0.
That's what he's druid with a 0 in nature. You're like, I got this. Don't worry about it.
It's wisdom all the way down, baby.
The fact that some druid would be like, yes, fire is of course a part of the ecosystem's restorative process, and you're like, sure, that sounds right to me.
Great. And that was the intro class. You stood up and just left. And then there's a montage of every time you pick a flower and it burns, or open a book and it combusts. And that's it. That's your whole education.
Warmongerer. I was not protecting the planet.
Nature 101, not so much.
True Wheeler from Captain Planet vibes.
I'm just saying, you were drafted for a reason. Like, I feel like Little Vatra was, Korra at the beginning of Korra, when like the order of the when the Aabria, who's the order of the people that came to find Korra.
White Lotus.
White Lotus, yeah. When walking,
Nice.
like throwing fire,
Yeah.
like, that was like Little Vatra.
Yeah.
100%.
Please take this child.
Please
And ended up
take
just
this
as
child.
queer.
Yes.
25, you say, Mossbrow.
25.
You get something similar to what Vatra gets. You see no malice in its eyes, and you have an innate sense of evil. It's not evil. It's not even overly chaotic. If anything, it is pure passion. It's just instinct.
I love this guy.
Yeah. Timpani's like, put me in, coach. Yeah.
I have a question. Now,
Whenever you're ready, baby.
We live in a magical world. Is this thing of nature, or is it truly like abominable? Like it's extraplanar, it's seeking to destroy, it cannot coexist in harmony with nature. Or is this just like, this creature should not be here?
She told you this one in particular awoke out of the earth. Some of the other things were interdimensional, but she's like, this came out of the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will speak to it again. I'll speak to it again and say, we are here to give you what you need and what you desire. Do you know what you desire, or are you confused?
It looks at you for a second, and it looks past you towards the town that is about a half a mile away, and it looks down, and it just sort of like puts its claws down, like in Vatra, the ground shakes where it does it, and it just like smashes through some of the trees and just stands up again.
Oh, it's got tippy taps.
I will say, I can understand you if you attempt to speak to me. Do you wish to destroy things? Are you a creature of the earth who wishes to unmake these trees and buildings?
It looks around, and just its tail just sweeps out and knocks some trees over again.
I think that's a
stands
yes.
up again.
Just tell it to sit. I'm just in the bond. Tell it sit.
Please sit, if you would be so kind.
Oh.
Give me persuasion.
Act like you're talking to me when you talk to it.
Timpani, please sit.
Like,
Tiffany behind the tree sits down like,
highly effective.
This question is to follow up Timpani's. If it has tippy taps, does it have toe beans?
yes. I'm gonna touch all of its beans.
Okay.
And I believe again, Lucien was performing the help action, so you got.
Yes, I had advantage on that
there.
roll. That's going to be a 27 on that persuasion check.
You see, it looks at you for a second, and it just kind of turns its head, and it looks back down in the direction that Vatra is, and it does just sort of lower on its haunches a little bit, like.
And the
But I
boy.
mean, its body crushes all the trees that were under it, basically.
Hey, Vatra, can I get in here real quick? I know you want to dominate it, but what
Yeah,
if we
please
make
get
it
in there.
less crushable? I would like you to make a wisdom save as I cast polymorph on the big boy.
Nice.
What is the save DC?
19.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm looking over at Lucien because I know Lucien's got those cutting words because this thing might have dope saving throws.
Yeah.
Well, before I tell you what's happened, do you intend to cutting words it?
I just want to make sure that I can expand. Yep, I've got one bardic inspiration left because I kind of spread them around wildly at the beginning of this, forgetting it was the beginning of the game. So yes, I can I can afford one more bardic inspiration.
Go ahead and roll your cutting words.
Actually, that just means.
So you're gonna roll your bardic
I do.
inspiration, and it will take it away from its roll.
Yep.
Although you got to tell me what you say for your cutting words.
Oh, you know what it is? It's not words because this is an animal. And so, like, if you've ever, like, worked with an animal, you can kind of soothe them or whatever. But also, if you distract them at the right moment, it kind of can jar them out of, like, an angry reaction. So it's just like, zzz.
Works on children, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100, like...
They're like, and you're like, what's that?
Yep. And they're like, oh, hold on. What? Was I sad?
Yeah.
That's what I do. It's like, zzz, zzz. But
Yeah.
Watching a flying man with a harp more beautiful than Sephiroth go Cesar Milan.
see, it's very much like that. Yeah, it's very undignified.
Go ahead and roll it.
It was it was only a 4.
I need you to know you needed 4.
Oh,
Because it absolutely passed.
oh,
It passed by 4.
Oh
You
my
passed by 3. You
God.
passed by 3. So you needed 4.
Oh my God.
I'll take it.
Timpani,
Yeah?
you step forward to polymorph, and you realize, like, it turns and it looks at you, and you all see its eye kind of starts to narrow a little bit. You hear
Yeah. this
deep rumble until Lucy is like, and it looks at him, and what do you polymorph it into?
Given this energy and my own puppy, I'm turning it into a husky puppy.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. It couldn't talk before, but it can now.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I've got it tucked under my arm, like, he's a good boy.
It's this gargantuan thing. Turns into this small puppy, which looks around and immediately starts stomping and trying to wreck
No.
things.
Hey, eyes on me. No biting. Okay, my hand. All right, and I pick it up.
Mhm. And you have a very squirmy beast in tow. And this seems like an excellent place to take a quick break. I know
Nice.
these one-shots in particular are notorious for running long. We're going to try and stay on schedule this time. Let's just do 5 minutes. I feel like, I don't know, Chad. You guys let me know if you figured out what beast this is yet. I'm not going to say anything. But in the meantime, 5 minutes. And we're going to be back, and we'll get to it. So, thank you.
We are live video. And just to make sure that the audio works, I do need to do this as the bard. Up from the depths, 30 stories high, breathes fire, stands in the sky. Godzilla. That's where is that? Why does that live in my head after 40 years?
Yeah, legally distinct. Legally distinct.
Legally distinct.
You all legally distinct. 20% change. You all have successfully neutralized the beast in the west, which leaves you the undead invading in the east, the devils in the north, and this anomalous construct in the south. Where would you all like to go next?
Where is the most good that we can do? Where's the most people we can save?
Intelligent,
What?
intentional harm demon strikes me as the spookiest.
And
Yeah. I was
And
going to say maybe
again,
Devil's next.
I think devils perhaps make sense. And also, I would just remind us that while the massive automaton and the hordes of the undead are perhaps alarming, I don't believe we actually saw them harming anyone. Perhaps the necromancer just wants to have some friends, and perhaps the automaton is just a novel creation. The devils were laughing about hurting the world. Every last one of them.
Okay.
Right.
I'm hearing devils.
Devils.
Yeah.
Excellent. You all call to the Queen of Heaven. And you see the portal shimmers into being, and she looks at you and she sees the dog, and she just says, is that?
He's a good boy.
No, please do not bring it here.
This is a good boy.
It's
It's a good boy.
demons next, I believe I heard.
Yeah, you're not going to take the good boy?
Not gonna take this good boy.
I do feel
you
like
scared?
this good boy needs a
she-
forever
yeah.
home.
She opens
Yeah.
her mouth like she's about to say something, and the portal shimmers, and on the other side, you just see flames and chaos.
And this is
You
why
made
gods
us-
are bullshit.
You made us gods and we can't get a pet sitter?
Here. How about this?
Yeah.
How do we feel? I have geese or gays, depending on how you want to go there. Can I'd be like, be a good boy and stay here. And that's my geese. And then we can leave him here, because let's not take it into the demon fight, because that is a double or nothing scenario.
Hey, how high can you cast that? Can you convince him to be a good boy for a long time? 'Cause this is, and I shake the puppy like a little bit, like this is gonna last for an hour.
Oh.
Oh, I look at, wait a minute. I look at Timpani, who says that it only lasts for an hour, and I say, oh, well, then that's not a very permanent solution. I'm going to look, and I think a rock can't blush, but I'm going to lean in, not over our group chat, but I'm going to lean into Timpani and be like, Timpani, I've had a very Timpani thought. It's not a very moss-browed thought.
She's crying a little bit.
It's already happening.
But I think that perhaps your cleverness and your subtlety of craft has worn off on me a little bit. If this good boy can't stay a good boy forever, would it not be somewhat advantageous for him to cease being a good boy in and around that army of devils that we had beheld?
Mossbrow, I love you. I also
feel
had this.
very conflicted in this moment.
You're the best and my favorite.
Timpani
except
just
for everyone else.
hucks the dog through the portal like a grenade. We're done. Number 3.
Kind of.
Wow.
I want to make a little like collar around this good boy with like a tiny little like thorn in it, just in case I have to snap it to do enough damage to the polymorph.
Are you going through the portal, or are you?
I'm going through the portal with my puppy, and we'll decide.
Right.
Oh my God.
As you come through, the smell of sulfur just assaults your senses as flames are sweeping outwards, and you can see buildings and structures on fire and people laying dead as these creatures of horrible things of just teeth and claws and bones and spikes.
I'm sure the puppy will love all the bones.
I have constructed a puppy Bjorn out of my clothing. The dog is on the front of me.
Dog is here, right? Yeah. Exactly. He is desperately trying to destroy things from the like kicking at nothing.
Just a
And
good
you
boy.
all do see that bluish purple person you saw, and he is standing on a rock with everything around him is on fire. He still just has that sword on his shoulder and is kind of just watching everything, and turns and looks at you all and says, heroes, or
Fire,
have
how
you
original.
or have you come to swear loyalty to me?
No, not that. We have come to offer you a wonderful opportunity
to return to the realm from whence you came with all of your forces and to leave our realm alone. And that way, we will all be happy and be able to live peacefully.
You all see some of the smoke in shadow begins to coalesce near him into a vaguely feminine form. It is difficult to make out. It just sort of like swirls and manifests. And you all hear a voice that just says, "Ah, so you're the diplomats. And what, pray chance, will happen if we refuse?"
I point at the dog.
We came here with a gift. What are you talking
like,
about?
like 100% deadpan. I just.
Clive and Mossbrow, you with your instinctive divine senses of just things that should not be, reality itself is tainted by their presence. It's like there is an odd swirling distortion around them. It's like the air itself doesn't want them to be here.
Just
and you hear that all around you as these rampaging creatures have sort of stopped and all turned in you all's direction. And they're a wide swath around you, about 50 feet or so, gathering. Yes, Mossbrow, you're about to say something?
Hit him with the divine sense. Everything here is extra planar, right?
Oh, radiating fiend.
Cool.
Fiend. Like it is almost incomprehensible how much fiendish energy is within 60 feet of you, Mossbrow.
I'll just go, are you aware that your very presence on this plane is harming it? And if so, are you in favor of that harm?
This plane is disgusting. Everything is so soft and green. We're here to make some improvements.
Bonus action haste 5 smites on that guy.
And with that, let us roll initiative.
With Moxie.
Hey, BD.
Yes.
As we were walking in, I was just saying, as soon as I saw fire, I would have liked to have done something, which was just cast Investor of Flame. It doesn't attack him or anything, but it's the equivalent of, can I have had my mage armor up?
Yeah, basically, I just imagine that Vatra is teased like we're here to make some improvements, and Mossbrow, it's just like you look down and the flames kind of start swirling around you, Vatra.
I did it as soon as we walked in, and this guy was like, "Fire's my thing." No. Fire is my thing. Thank you very much.
All right, Vatra, initiative.
Ooh, okay, so that's a 7.
There's a lot of beautiful fire around here right now. A lot of distractions.
I'll put it in the chat too.
Nazetta.
6.
Oh my god.
I am very concerned about this dog. I'm like Timpani, hey Timpani, I'll hold the dog.
You don't want to hold the dog if I get hit and lose concentration on it.
Oh no, it's concentration too.
Again, what kind of monster would do something like that?
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I can actually. Lucient.
That is a 17.
17. Timpani.
23.
23. Mossbrow.
7.
What?
All right, Mossbrow. Here's one quick thing to see if you can surprise them with this attack or not when you come. Give me deception, Mossbrow, which I don't think is a strength, but let's see.
Okie dokie. That's a 22.
Well,
You know what? I'm going to give you the surprise round because they didn't think this shambling
baby!
mass of rock and stone could move as fast as you do. So yes, go ahead. You'll
Just-
get this in. Go ahead and roll.
Just my DMs, just my mental DMs to Lucient, where I go, "Hello, Lucient, about that poker face," and I just take off with that 22 deception. Be good lying if you don't have a mouth or facial muscles.
Exactly. Yeah. When you literally have a carved face.
I like
Yeah.
montaging back to like me actually trying to teach Mossbrow how to play poker, like, and there's acorns and twigs. We're sitting in the glade.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Really good.
Incredible. Okay. I am going to. So I assume my haste wore off from before, but also a bonus action.
I'll let you keep the haste.
Oh, okay,
No,
awesome.
I'll
Thank
let you
you.
keep the haste.
Much
Hey,
appreciated.
pretty.
Hey, it's wow. How about that? Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna take some attacks here. Let me see if I have any shenanigans with these attacks. I don't think that I do, but I'll just go for this person here. I'll say fiends find the sword's light disconcerting and painful, even if they can't see it, and have disadvantage on attack rolls made within the radius of bright light. Bright light in a 15-foot radius, and they've got disadvantage on all attacks.
You hear a horrific screeching as all of these extraplanar interlopers all howl in pain in unison, Mossbrow.
Hell yeah. I also have True Sight up right now. That's another thing that's going on as I'm rushing towards them. And then okay. So let's just make these attacks. Attack number 1 is that's a 19 on the die. That's going to be a 30 to hit.
I'm going to go ahead and say that's enough. Yep.
Okay, we'll do 2 more attacks real quick. Here's number 2. Another 19. That is insane. Another 30 to hit. Good grief.
Friends, 30 is godlike success, by the way. So it's Mossbrow's highly motivated here. It's too bad you don't crit on a 19. That would have gotten greasy pretty fast.
I know that would have gotten really fucking silly. Okay, last one coming, which is the haste attack. I swear to God, I rolled a third 19. I don't know. Why would I make it up? It's not a crit. It doesn't help me at all. It is three 19s in a row. That's so silly. That is a 1 in 8,000 chance of happening. I will just say for our friends at home, Brennan and Aabria and I played in a campaign where I was just astonishingly lucky.
And it was crazy.
How many people were like, he's cheating? And I'm like, yeah, but for what, man?
Yeah,
why would
exactly.
Why would I do that? Truly,
I was so thankful.
Truly.
B-Dave, when we did our game and I rolled the 2 natural 20s with the Vorpal sword, I'm so thankful it was on D&D Beyond so I could screenshot it. So then it was like, no, I really did. Here it is. It's in the chat.
He beheaded 2 dragons in a single round. That is true. That all happened. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I tell you what, since that's a truck ton of damage, Mossbrow. So we're gonna move. Just give me the number when you have it, okay?
Okay, yeah. Move along. I'll let you know what my damage. This dude's also gonna have to make 3 saving throws or be blinded. By the way.
What kind of save and what DC?
DC 17 Constitution saving throw or be blinded until the end of its next turn.
Can you do me a favor and let me know if we pass all 3 of those?
Con, you say?
Con, yeah.
Yes, he's got a pretty chunky con. Yes, he will be passing. Oh wait, what is what you said was a 19? You say
17.
17. It is actually impossible for him to fail. I only say that before you waste resources. He's got a significant con. So before you waste resources on it.
Thank you.
I have a plus 16 to my con save, so like I can't knock the hustle. You know, it really is. I'm living that life too, so I get it. Okay, I'll roll damage.
Okay. Yep. But Timpani, it is your turn. As Mossbrow has just exploded forward, flashes of light are erupting.
Incredible.
I will say, Mossbrow, the moment that you said with your true sight, when you get close, you see 2 things. you see in the midst of this swirling smoke, you do see the form of what looks like a very pale blue-skinned woman. She doesn't look like any kind of human you've ever seen. Like, where she hails from is strange. She radiates fiend, but she doesn't look like a monster like the rest of these things. This other person you see, and the rest of you see, the moment Mossbrow first connects, erupts into a form that towers over all of you. He is almost like a centaur with long, heavily clawed legs and long arms with claws, and a cloud of swords begins swirling around him as Mossbrow attacks him. But Timpani, it is your turn.
Sweet. Timpani has like a bunch of cool swirling magical energy around her, and she goes, "No, hold on." And I put the dog down and go over there. Gotta go to the potty. And I want to send the puppy towards all the demons and just yell out, "I need you to believe what I'm about to say more than anything in the world. If you touch that dog or me, you're going to have the worst fucking day. And I'm going to walk casually up to the lady in blue and start a conversation, daring her to hit me."
Give me persuasion, or I mean, I said persuasion or deception. Technically, you're telling the truth, but I'll give whichever.
It's persuasion, and I got a 14 on the die for a total of 31.
Dang.
Whoa.
Here's the thing. She just rolled a 1. But that means she really failed her insight. She does not believe you.
Oh, no.
Here's the thing,
Because
and
about
that's
the biggest
incredible.
mistake she could make.
You know what? Did I see her? Oh no, she would have to take the lower roll. Never mind. I would have tried to give her bardic inspiration. Like, I need you to believe me on this. Can I do that? Can I give her inspiration? I need her to trust this.
Again, it's charity. I'll say it. We're doing it for the kids here.
Nice.
You see, again, for you, she looks like this swirling mass of shadow with vaguely glowing eyes there. Oh, only Mossbrow sees her true form. And as you walk up to her so casually, she turns and looks at it, and she's like, "Do all the diplomats of this world walk with such easy swagger?"
Yes, because I know words are the first resort, and I've got so much more waiting. You're gonna want the words to work.
So this one here has already besieged my brother with astounding alacrity, might I add. Perhaps we will keep him when this is all said and done. What is it that you have to offer?
I just need to know.
You know what? Curveball, she actually has true sight. So here's how I'm going to manage that one. That she's like,
nice.
I don't know why you, and you see her eyes widen when she looks at the dog.
Oh,
I named him Chomper.
This is like the joke where it's like, I don't know who that is, but the Pope is driving for him.
It's like, I'm not scared at you. How?
All of a sudden, the record scratch. How did I get here?
Right. You know? Yeah, because she very much is like, no, I got that. Whoa. Oh.
And if you ever say anything is mean to me about keeping my friend Mossbrow when we're done here, I'm going to forget to hold concentration on my good boy here. So you're going to want to walk that back.
Either way, we have not come this far to stop now. What is it that you want?
I want you to stop now. And that could be the end of our part of the conversation. Other people can go.
You got that damage, Mossbrow?
Yes, I do. Does Radiant do anything special, or is that just straight damage?
Let me double check. Well, he is not particularly vulnerable, no.
Cool. Then that is 157 damage.
Rules as written.
Mossbrow launches, and you smash your sword into this thing, and large chunks of it come flying off. 157, you say?
Mhm.
Okay. But you see, as you're looking up at its now very inhuman face, and it is bleeding. You've drawn blood. It looks down at you and it smiles through like the blood that is coming out of its teeth, and just says, "Well, then this is gonna be fun, isn't it?" Perfect. Timpani, that your Timpani is attempting to negotiate. Lucient, it is your turn. As you see, Timpani is face to face with this shadowy woman who very much was about to point her staff at her, but looked past her at the dog and seems to be reconsidering. The other one is just happy to be throwing hands with Lucient, and as of yet, this army has yet to attack.
So, given that I'm kind of right after Timpani, there was the "What do you want?" That's an opening line. Like, oh, there's my cue. A bard knows his cue, and so I come up and I say, what is it that you want? And I'm like, leave and don't come back. Now, I'm going to shame myself here because it's been a while and I'm a second edition boy.
Been a while.
Banishment, I know banishment happens if you can banish anyone, but if they're native to the plane, they leave and then they come back. But banishment is deliberately for things that are from other places, and if you send them out, they don't blip back, right?
Yeah, it's so funny, Pat. You're literally, I'm looking at the spell right now because I was queuing it up as well.
It's not perfectly clearly written.
But I think I could be wrong, but I think the way banishment works is you got to be able to hold on to it for a minute, and then they're locked.
I gotcha.
That's it. If they are native to the plane, they will come back. If they're not native to the plane, you have to basically maintain it for a minute, and then they will not return. If you lose concentration over that minute because you cast another spell or you get damaged, they come back.
Okay.
Yes.
Then
it's almost like Brennan Lee Mulligan has run 1 or 2 Dungeons and Dragons sessions.
Stop.
I also have 5.5 editions of this game in my head. I read the spell almost every time, even when I'm sure. I'm still just like,
the weird one. So yeah,
and that's why I knew I needed to ask. So yeah, I step up and it's like, well, what is it that you want? And I step up and I hit, and I go leave, and it's and I hit the harp and I do banishment.
Hit her with banishment. What's the save that she needs to beat?
It is hell. I'm pretty sure it said wisdom. I was looking at what other sauce I could throw on this.
She makes the save. She rolled high. Like, you see, you hit your loot, and you see reality start to ripple around her, and it's like she's being swallowed up by something, and she just turns and kind of looks both ways. Yes, Timpani.
I would like to cast Silvery Barbs. Please re-roll your save and take the lower roll.
What's the?
Don't just roll bad for once.
What does she need to beat? Pat, what's your DC?
Hold on. Sorry. Save DC is 21, but also there is an opportunity for cutting words here.
I need you to know I had beat it by a mile, and the second time I rolled a 2. So reality starts to ripple, and she turns to look at you like, surely you don't think, and Timpani's boom.
Hold down. That's a lot.
Also, part of Silvery Barbs is you give someone else advantage. You don't just take it away. You give someone else a win. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Absolutely do. Let's give it to whoever's up next.
The next one in the initiative is the monster, and then Vatra.
Okay, not him.
So
yeah,
just
Vatra.
What I'm going to say is I do this. If I have to maintain this for a minute, I will take a knee, and I am doing a very epic emo harp solo to keep her. Like that's the mojo right there.
So you're kind of surrounded by this demonic army that is yet
Yep.
to close in, but
Yep.
is it your intent to at least move away from him? Because there's literally actively swords like swirling.
Nah, I got
around him.
my people got me. Like I'm down. I'm just it's
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now playing it down, Mr. President, with this kid in the corner. Okay.
I need you to know her saves are so ridiculous that is about the only way that was going to be possible, is if I more or less rolled a 1 or a 2 and I rolled a freaking 2.
Amazing.
I knew that was a Hail Mary.
She's terrible, and yeah, she got taken out of the fight. But let's see how long she's gonna stay out of the fight, because oh no. Nazetta. I mean, and I just want your opinion on something. If I just talk to you for a second here, you know what I mean? If I can just have a moment, you know, just everybody else earmuffs. So I could do something terrible. Well, this is supposed to be a happy occasion. It's a charity game where you're having a good time, except I'm literally awful. You all know what this was and who I am. Mm-hmm. Should I do the terrible thing? Or should we just kind of like let it ride and have a good time?
You're asking me.
Yes, I'm asking you. I already know what the other. I know what every other person in this call will say. All of them, and it's not necessarily what you think. I just know them all very well. That's why.
I say do the thing, Dave. Do the thing.
Lucient, as she erupts out of existence, you see the other one turns and looks at you and says, "Oh, it's not going to be that easy, is it?" And he casts Dispel Magic on you, which he can do as a legendary action. Hold on 1 second here.
I can counterspell with my reaction.
You can't. You get a counterspell as Dispel Magic. Pew pew. And he can't.
Who shot first?
He can't counterspell your counterspell. So yes, all right. You successfully stop him from ending your effect.
I got two hands, yo. Playing this harp.
Buy one, get one free, bitch. What's up?
I can't believe Lucient can play the harp. That's wild. He's so good at that.
First thing, Mossbrow, you take 14 points of force damage from the weapons that are just swirling around him in this aura around you of death and destruction.
Cool.
That's not accounting for any mitigation or things like that you might have.
There's no save or
it's like Cloud of Blades basically. Like if you're just
is this a spell, and what type of damage is it?
It is not, and it is force damage.
Then I take full 14, baby. That's really good.
Mm-hmm. What is your AC, Mossbrow?
My AC at the moment is 26, but let me just see something real quick. First of all, 14 damage. Bada boom. Okay. I forget. Can you cast shield in response to being attacked or in response to being hit?
It basically it's a reaction, so it's like that.
It's reaction to being hit. Copy that. Yeah. Cool. Hell yeah. Cool. So it's an AC of 26 right now. And remember, this dude has if it's within 15 feet of me, where the origin of the attack is, it's at disadvantage.
Okay, hold on. Ooh. You beat it. You got away from a natural 20 though. So his 4 attacks went down to 1 attack that is going to hit you.
Okay, awesome. That 1 attack that's going to hit me, I'm going to reaction shield. My armor class is 31.
Believe it or he's still going to hit you.
Okay, cool.
Basically these like blades come out and he's slashing at you with these swords that are just appearing while he's swinging, most of which are clanging harmlessly off of you, but one of them bites through for 28 points of force damage.
28 points.
28 points of force damage, which could have been much worse. As I said, you took a natural 20 away from him with that. So
I will say that I'm very glad I did that. I also am immune to critical hits because I'm made of rocks.
It's a rock. It doesn't have any vulnerable spots. That is unfortunately it for him. However, the demonic hordes charge in and start biting and clawing and swinging at all of you and roll.
What is their initiative?
Terribly.
What is their initiative?
They are acting on the same turn as him, so they are acting on a 15.
Oh, okay.
However, they rolled awfully. That is not going to be enough to hit any of you except that one there. Hold on a second. Oh, they've all got disadvantage too, right? Oh, geez. Okay. It's almost like having you high-level magic people is a problem. Basically,
Would you go and make us gods, B-Dave?
Yeah, we didn't need the lady to tell us. We know. We can see our character sheets.
The hordes come charging in and basically can't face Mossbrow, and they do attempt to claw and bite and scratch. They try to attack the dog and miss. They do try it because they don't know.
They don't know.
I'm doing this all by the book, man. You know?
Incredible.
The goodest boy is running and basically gonna start biting them back unless you try and stop them. Stop him.
Nah, he's good.
They are wholly ineffective. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. That's cool. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Vatra.
I think I'm before Vatra because I'm 8 and on the.
Are you 8? Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No worries.
I apologize. You know what? I actually did not write yours down, Clive. I apologize.
It is all good. I'm very peaceful. It's understandable.
What is up with you guys rolling 8, 7, 7?
I don't know. I know it's just like ridiculous on the low end of the.
We're all distracted by the dog.
They're like, please do not harm this dog in particular. Like, don't harm the dog in general. Don't harm this dog.
This is a reverse John Wick. Like, it's not like John. If you kill the dog's gonna come after you.
The worst thing can happen.
Like, please don't hurt John Wick. You do not know what the dog will do. Yes.
I'm the dog in this scenario. That's John Wick.
That's right.
Reverse. You know, that's how we keep you guessing. Then yes, Clive. Ian, beset by demonic hordes, which again are averting their eyes but trying. Yeah.
And I'm going to utter a divine word. So I'm going to say a divine word, which in this case is just my name, because I guess I'm a god now. So I'm just going to step forth and go, Clive, and just
Pokemon ass Eric. What the hell is that? Say my own name to do my ability.
Say my name.
That is still the biggest flex of the one that hesitated the most to be a god. You being like, well, I guess I'll invoke myself.
I'll invoke myself. Thank you,
Glaven. Yeah. So basically, everything within 30 feet, 50. They have to make a charisma 18 saving throw. 50 hit points or fewer, they're deaf. 40 hit points or fewer, they're deaf and blind. 30 hit points or fewer, they're blind, deaf, and stunned. 20 hit points or fewer, they're dead. But here's the real beautiful part. Regardless of its current hit points, a celestial, elemental, fate, or fiend that fails the save is forced back to its plane of origin and cannot return for 24 hours.
Wow.
Do they have disadvantage on this?
Yes,
because of Mossbrow's thing?
Rules is written. It's only disadvantage on attacks, so they don't grant disadvantage on saving throws. But
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the save DC?
18 charisma.
Okay.
But I'm certainly going to thin their numbers. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It does not work on the big guy.
Okay.
But hold on, wait, here, let me see here.
But the cavalry is going to be in a rough shape.
It just erupts outward, Clive, and you all see these things just... Mothbrow and Clive. you see these things just rip out of existence, like they are just hostily ejected, screaming out of it. And you see the one with the blades swirling just stops. Anything else for you, Clive?
No, I'm good. Thanks, though.
Clive, all of you hear him say, he just raw hatred rolls off of him, just unadulterated rage. All of you make wisdom saving throws.
Ah, crap.
Wisdom, my secret
Oh,
weakness.
my fate. That's actually my. Oh crap! I rolled a natural 20. I got 30 on my freaking
I've
wisdom
got
save.
26.
Okay.
Wisdom is my jam.
Oh, if anyone's
You are
near
very
me,
wisdom-
I'm not sure who's near me because it's all theater of the mind, but I do give
Yeah.
a +5 on saves
Oh, thank
to
God.
anyone
Yep.
near me.
Kind of everybody
Am I
is
near?
you. Yeah, you're all
Okay.
near enough. Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh, then that makes it a 31.
I guess
With
35
19.
then.
With
what
Moss
was
Brow's
that
help,
for
I
ne-
got
for-
a 7.
what was that?
19.
19, Lucient.
Also, thank you,
19
Mossbrow.
and 2 and 26. It is a rare
Okay.
moment for Lucien.
In Mossbrow.
25. Sorry, no. Rolled a 12 on the die. Wisdom. Yes, that is going to be a 25. That's correct.
Timpani and Nazetta. Hold on a second here. Let me
I
do it like
never
this.
said I had wisdom as the thing, and I think
We
all of
still-
my
wait,
actions
wait, sorry.
have proved.
Do we still have the beacon of hope from before? Clive's beacon of hope.
Oh yeah. I mean that's.
I was about to say,
Hold
unless
on.
you cast another concentration spell.
No. Oh, hold on. Let me check.
I think beacon of hope is wisdom save something. I could be wrong, but maybe I'm incorrect.
Hold on. Now I've got to look it up. Sorry.
Yep. Well, no, it's
Is
all right.
this a
It's
spell or a magical effect?
It's a.
It is a magical effect. It's not a spell.
Okay,
Each
I have
target
advantage
has
on that.
advantage on
I
wisdom
forgot.
saving throws.
Oh, much
Mhm.
better. Cool. We're okay now.
Each
Oh,
target has advantage on wisdom saving throws.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Then
from Beacon of-
Nazetta and Timpani roll again. Then roll again on for your beacon of hope.
I'm
rolled
gonna
the
use
same
the inspiration
goddamn
you gave
thing.
earlier too, and I jump up to a
can use
25.
Inspiration, right?
Yeah.
You still have it.
Okay.
You have a D12.
Okay. 25.
Nice.
24 is the number you overpowered magic needed to beat. So something really terrible was about to happen.
Thank
Not even
you.
gonna tell you what it is, because maybe it's gonna happen next time because you've used your advantages. But now you are down just to this one rampaging fiend, Clive, having wiped out an invading army by with a single spell.
Not just any
Vashra-
spell. My name.
That is true. It's, Moth, Boyle, and Clive. Moth, Boyle, and Clive. Vatra, it is your turn. A single opponent remains before you.
Excellent. So because of the fire armor that I already have on, Vatra just stands there looking kind of like Kevin does, how she's almost made of fire at this point. And she just puts one hand directly up to the sky and goes, I like being a god, and I'm gonna cast Call Lightning at 7th level. That is a dexterity save on the demon's part, the devil's part.
And what is the number that it needs to beat?
19.
For all of its chunky saves, Dex is its weakest. It does not make the save.
Okay.
Its
All
stat
right.
block is ridiculous, by the way. When we get done, I'm gonna tell you what all these things you've been fighting are, even though you're just steamrolling them. Yeah.
All right. That is 33 points of lightning damage. And then Kevin will attack immediately after on my turn, and that's a 23 to hit.
I'm pretty sure that's enough. Let me just double check. It is enough.
Okay, Kevin uses flame seed, so just kind of chomps towards him, and fire kind of erupts from his teeth and splashes forward onto it. I don't know if damage is maybe less effective, but that's all Kevin can do. And that is 11 points of fire damage.
Perfect. It's 7th level. It was 33.
Yeah, it is 78.
Yeah. Well, hey, it bees like that sometimes. Yeah. Hey, perfect. Excellent. Anything else from Vatra?
That is all for me.
Perfect. Technically it's Mossbrow again, but Mossbrow already did a thing, so I'm gonna bump Nazetta ahead of you.
Fine. Yeah. That's all groovy.
Yes, Nazetta.
Okay. Remind me how many are left? Who?
Just the one. The shadowy woman has been banished, and so far he has not been able to break Lucian's concentration. The demonic army has been hostilely ejected from the prime material plane by Clive. There is this one huge fiend that is still very much up and fighting, though.
Okay, so I'm gonna do Booming Blade, which is a regular attack first, with my lucky blade here. Okay, and that is 26 to hit.
That is enough. Yep.
Okay. 10 damage, but then I want to do my sneak attack as well on top of
Perfect. Go ahead and roll it. It is very much flanked.
Okay, so altogether 47 points of damage.
47 points, yes.
And with Booming Blade, if they move at all.
Yep. The boom will go off.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. I'm just sending y'all a picture
what I'll
here in our chat of what this thing looks like. There you go. That's him.
He's a happy fellow.
Dang.
Well, he's having a rough day though. Yeah.
I'll tell you what that looks like to me. That looks like a bad deck save, that monster.
That's pretty much exactly. Yeah, he just sort of takes it in the face and survives. And here,
you're a dragon with a human torso and an extra set of arms. How do you get anything done? You know, how do you move?
You never know. It's good fundamentals. He'll break your ankles crossing you over. Like you know what he's gonna do. Perfect. Anything else from Nazetta?
Nope.
All right. Perfect. Mossbrow.
Has anyone used Timpani's advantage? No, I don't think anyone has. Timpani had an advantage that she granted from her spell, but nobody did. Anyone use that in any of their roles or no?
No, I don't think so.
Then I'm gonna, if I can take that, I'm gonna take that.
Absolutely.
Please do.
You're welcome to it.
Okay.
Dibs is a bonus action, just to say.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
going to be
the law that we must all live by. Yes.
That's going to be an 18, which I don't think is going to do it. So I'm going to use one of my features here.
Yep, that is not enough to hit him.
Okay, we're going to do favored by the gods and see if we can get that a little higher.
We're just going to bring in the 2d4. I know it well.
Shout out to Freely.
Shout out. Hey, I've heard a lot of stories about you, Mossbrow. I like what I'm hearing. Got this Mossbrow doll, Penelope got me for my birthday. Big fan of your work.
I love it. Okay, that's only gonna. I rolled absolute minimum, so that's only gonna be a 20 to hit.
You still might have
not enough.
You might still have the bardic inspiration that I gave you before. I ticked all those off.
Because Timpani and Lucian both gave bardic inspiration. I don't know.
I used the bardic on my. I used it on my insight and on my persuasion. I'm gonna be a good.
Sorry. What'd you say that attack was? Sorry, I apologize.
20, dirty 20.
That is not enough. Yep.
No worries. I got two more coming down the track, so we're good. Okay, that's gonna be a 25.
We're crit fishing. I love it. Yes, that is enough to hit him.
And then the last one's going to be a 22.
That is not enough.
No worries. Okay.
We'll
go ahead. He's a chunky boy, and we love that about him. Okay.
I mean, he's fighting gods here.
Exactly. We'll throw another smite on there, and that's going to be 7d8 plus 5. Sorry. Oh, did I do that wrong before? No, I didn't. I didn't do it wrong before.
Well, again, I know this is a fistful of dice, so you roll it and give me the number when you have it.
I got you right now. The number I'm rolling these digitally because there's just too many. That's going to be 45 damage to the dude.
Perfect. This time the tables have turned as your sword clatters harmlessly off of him as you realize he's catching and blocking, but you still manage to strike once. Explosions of light. You did add your extra D8 because he's a fiend, right?
Yes, I did. And then I'm going to bonus action 8th level disintegrate.
There we go. I wanted that. I was waiting for it.
I knew it was coming and I didn't know when.
So 45 damage from the smite, and then I'm going to need him to make a dexterity saving throw.
What's the number he needs to beat?
Spell save DC is a 19 here, dexterity.
Timpani or Lucient, do either of you intend to cutting words or anything to interfere?
My reaction is still spent.
Oh yeah, we are at the bottom of this round. That's true. It hasn't come back yet. Mm-hmm.
Same, unfortunately. I counterspelled.
Good kids.
You know, again, it's we do it by the book.
Hell yeah.
The only time we biff things is for the rule of cool. Unfortunately, he did not make the save. So yes, go ahead and roll.
Wow.
I'm gonna share his
in the first half.
He's so ridiculous, but his dex is non-existent. Because you're right, you're just a half dragon centaur tank thing that just tanks that just you dodge with your face. That's what you do.
Sen Tank, you never had a chance.
Sen Tanks. That's my favorite Netflix show. Sen Tank World.
Okay. That's 16d6 plus 40. He takes 87 points of damage.
What?
Oh my god.
Mossbrow, tell me what it looks like when you remove him from reality.
I'm going to trading blows back and forth. I'm like flying this whole bang thing. Both of my wide set eyes go luminous with a moonlight more intense than staring directly into the center of the sun at noon. And I go, when people approach in kindness to warn you that danger abounds on your present course of action, believe them. You could have lived forever in hell, where your home is. And instead now, you will never live anywhere, ever. Screaming twin bolt from my eyes erupts. And it truly is like a typewriter erasing.
It's like a reverse print.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Brennan, amazing. That is awesome.
I was about to say, half the chat has no idea what we're talking about when we talk about a printer. What's a printer? Yeah, right.
Just like a moonlight erasing from reality, and he's gone.
And having removed him from reality, and a minute later, Lucient realizing that his compatriot is never going to return, I assume Vatra puts out the fire?
Yes, I will.
And then...
So that was like 12 seconds. We wiped out the army and then vaporized the dude.
That's the wildest thing about D&D, when you realize just how much happens in 6 seconds. Like, literally every fight is like, okay.
So I've still got my hands up from the divine word. Like I'm still doing this, and then he's vanishing. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I'll just move around the city and put out the various fires.
Mm-hmm. I'll go to help you. I can't help. I'm just trying to catch the puppy.
Mm-hmm.
Come here.
Give me a dex check. Give me athletics.
Oh no!
Because he's doing a squirm. He's trying to get out of here.
Can it be acrobatics?
It can be acrobatics. Yeah.
Thanks. It doesn't matter. I got a natural 1.
Oh! Don't worry, town. We saved you.
Have the swingiest rolls. It's still with a +10, so it's 11. But I love a natural 1. What can you do with that, B-Dave?
Is anyone
Where's
else
my dog?
try to help catch the
I want to help. I'll help.
I can help by doing a locate creature to help them find the dog.
I see him. He's right there.
Yeah.
He's just messing with your head. Yeah.
He just keeps biting my hands.
Acrobatics or athletics?
Okay. acrobatics correctly.
Yeah, he's just charging head first into a few of the remaining buildings. Just
Damn it, stop.
Not have also rolled in that one.
Dullard.
Oh
What is going on?
no! I like to.
Madness.
Both of these people are like, instead of picking up, they're like, I want to do acrobatics, and they're flip wizarding
They're
around.
just like flipping.
And they run into each other in midair and fall on the dog.
Two of the greatest heroes of the realm just face planted, doing like an ollie without a skateboard, trying to catch a dog. After
Let it be known, I'm also bonus and healing word this dog every time he trips. Like, please don't run out of hit points.
Yeah,
Look up!
hold
Stop
on.
running into the wall!
Oh, yeah, there is a thorn on that collar. You know what's gonna happen. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. I just need to check something here.
The good news is we can blame this on the demons. Like, this doesn't have to show up on our
Thank you.
our report.
Yeah, it's not in our.
Is that
CD
the most
when we're
important
doing
thing
our
you'll ever
interview?
learn is
that- yeah.
this happens all the time, and he just doesn't sing about it. Lucien keeps this out of the story. Got grass in your teeth.
because right now it is a sweet baby. I'm gonna say when both of you fall and flop on the ground, it just stops headbutting this building, just comes over and plops down next to you. It's like, you know,
This disrespectful
impromptu
ass
cuddle
dog.
puddle.
I love it.
Amazing.
We
And
got
then there were
it.
two undead hordes or a giant mecha moss brow.
Hey, you're a cleric that yelled your own name. Is my nose bleeding? You want to go deal with the undead real quick, and then we'll finish
sort
with
of-
big ass moss brow?
You know what's wild? I don't know why. Only when I stream, if I have a long stream, I get such a runny nose. And it's like, I mean, this place is dusty because all of Burbank is dusty, but I'm in here the whole day and fine. It's just apparently after like the 93-minute mark of saying words, my body's just like, activate lubrication. And I'm like, all snotty. Yeah,
Nice.
strangest thing. Yeah.
So I just sort of look
I
over and I
keep
go,
trying to lean away here to be like over here so you don't hear it. Yeah. Mhm. Sorry.
Tiffany,
Yes, Clay.
you say, yeah, Tiffany, you say that. I don't actually acknowledge it for a moment. I'm just sort of staring at my own hands and realizing what just happened, and it's kind of washing over me. And I sort of look back. I've got this slightly detached look, and I go, "What was that? What did you want?"
Oh, are you? Hey, we'll check in. You okay? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm better than I've ever been. Yes. What should we do next? We can do anything.
Lucien in his head moves him from this column to this column immediately, and I'm like, damn. I'm gonna need to do some work there one way or the other after we're done here.
Bro, like, can you vibe check real quick?
You just now a different song is on the wind and it sounds like
I'm gonna walk up. Can I walk up? Yeah, I'm gonna look at Lucien like gives me a look, and I see Timpani, and I go, I'm gonna walk up and I just say, Clive, what was your appellation after your name? Clive the what?
I am the caring. I will help all.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I want to check in with you for a moment because you've already started talking way weirder than you were talking earlier today. It's gotten strange fast. I think you, in your previous life, were a priest. Now, I am open to all people and all ways of life. But if I'm going to be honest with you, my experience of priests has often been that they are extremely dedicated. And that dedication can sometimes border on obsession, which can be hard. Now, you have spent your entire life being extremely devoted to the gods, and now you have become a
Not the gods, the Queen of Heaven.
Yes, the one God, right. Because obviously, in a world filled with gods, you should just pay attention to one. That's fine. That's fine.
He's not laughing. I'm just laughing because I can't friggin' call
I
it.
know. Mossbrow is really trying not to throw shade in this moment, but he's just like, no, I want you to understand something. You've just become a god, and I'm sure because of your former life as a priest, that's coming with a lot of emotional turmoil. So let me help you gain some perspective here. Gods were not that important when we were all mortals, and they're not that important now that we're all gods. So you should readjust because you are surrounded by peers right now in this moment.
Know. We
But
can do anything. We can save everyone.
See, already there's this sort of grandiose language that's coming into the picture, right? And I'm saying we should do our best to keep things in perspective. The distance between gods and mortals is never that great.
Okay.
You were the most helpful when you were Clive the Caring, whether a mortal or a god. That is what makes you worthwhile.
Yes. Let's stop the undead.
I agree.
While you were having that conversation, can I get the Queen of Heaven on the line?
Mm-hmm. The portal opens again. She looks and sees all the fire is out, and she's like, "So soon?"
I want to look over at Vatra and Nazetta and look down at the dog and look through the portal. Like, should we just take this one out real quick?
Where would you like to go? To the undead or the
to the undead? Hold it to the undead real quick. 1 second. Girl talk. Hey, can we just knock one out really quick with the dog?
Yeah. Wait, are there civilians?
I don't think with the bone things, the bone daddies. I didn't see people.
All right.
Just
If there's no
dead
people,
enemy.
then
Probably
Yes,
likes
that-
bones.
cool.
That's a good idea.
Like a
Cool.
dog
So
would
I'm
be.
just gonna like drop the dog and slide it through the portal, and then turn to Vatra and say, "Slap me."
I don't know.
I'll go up to you and slap you. Just like in front of Vatra, just like.
You see on the other side of the portal, the undead are looking, and the dog starts running straight towards them because they are made of bones. And you see up on this gondola, this lich raises his head and, "Foolish mortals, soon you will find." As it starts rampaging through their ranks, and you hear the queen say, "I think you want me to close the portal, right?"
Yeah, please close the
Yeah.
portal. Thank you so much.
Bye, puppy.
Just
Oh, who let the dog out?
Hoomst.
Hey, so we got one more.
Let's go. Let's get this done.
Tiffany.
Also, Nazetta, nice form.
I
like what I like.
The queen just looks at you all for a second and opens her. She stops and she's like, "We were never going to win against you, were we? Like, who? How did?
Absolutely
what
not.
Lesson learned." And it swirls, and you see this construct that is walking across the countryside.
So it's not actively damaging anything. It's just walking.
But yeah, currently there's nothing around it. Yeah, but it
Okay.
does have a
Right.
gigantic cannon on its back.
Sure.
And I can't remember if it was said or not, but I do have to ask, does this giant Mossbrow S construct, does it have a goatee or not?
There's a tiny goatee carved at the bottom.
Okay.
Gigantic head. Yeah. It's like Mossbrow 5.0 basically.
Nice.
Do you all go through the portal? That's how you know it's evil, kids. For those of you that
Right.
don't recognize, ask your parents why a goatee
Yeah.
means you're evil. You know.
Yeah, I'm jumping in.
Yeah.
Walking
you
through.
all go through. You hear it goes and stops and looks down, and it says, You are the inferior construct model known as Mossbrow.
Oh my god. What?
I look up and I say, I am not a model. There is not a line of me. I am the only one like me.
You all hear, and the cannon
Question.
rotates into place. Yes.
Is it made of metal?
Yes.
Oh, incredible. I cast heat metal. I will be using my 9th level spell slot.
Oh!
7 p.m. I'm gonna cast a 9th level heat metal.
I just imagine that you're just like.
I think she was taken a little aback by the insult to Mossbrow and was just like, oh, hold on.
Yeah. I
Absolutely
got one
not.
for you, boom. Yeah, that's good.
And very much so. She just kind of like, being made of metal is so silly. Go ahead.
It's so silly. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, great. So because it's heat metal, it just happens.
Face right now. I'm so sorry. I have so much empathy for B-Dave's face right now. I've just been in that position so many times. It's so good. On this side of the screen,
it feels right. Right?
No.
Nice.
Here's the worst part of this. Here's the worst part of this. First of all, Vatra, Saige, simultaneously. How dare you? And also, I'm so proud of you. I was about to give your full government name. I don't want people trying to find you on the internet.
Thank you very much.
I want you to know the full government name. I'm simultaneously so proud and appalled. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with this spell, y'all.
Okay.
There's no save.
Yeah.
Because again, you're just supposed to drop the item or take off the armor or whatever.
But
That's
it is
first
the
thing.
item.
Well, you're telling
But
us
it is the
problems, but
item.
I'm not hearing any problems.
No. The second thing, most of these spells, when you upcast it, things like Witch Bolt, only the first hit hits hard and then subsequent hits hit little. That's not what it says for heat metal.
No, it is not. I'm
So
of the
here's how
belief
we're
that
gonna
heat metal is the greatest spell in Dungeons and Dragons. Thank you for the perfect opportunity to use it. This is why I play druids.
Here's how we're gonna do this. You're gonna roll a catastrophically large number of dice. I need you to. Yeah, I'm gonna give you the option. You can either roll 10 rounds worth of damage, or you can roll once and multiply it times 10. Let's see if a single spell is enough to destroy this thing.
I will roll it once and multiply it by 10. So that is 9d8.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing digital for those.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to digital roll that for the sake of simplicity. That is 37 points of damage from the 9d8s. So that's 37 times 10. That's excellent. That's 370 points of damage.
Mossbrow, you're standing there and it
It's like a matchstick.
All right. Can I, B-Dave, as it goes up and as Vatra is maintaining concentration, can I be like, no, come on, buddy, you can do it. You're the superior. You can do it.
God.
Don't die without literally hurting any of us. We believe in you. Come on.
Nice, bro.
Also in the back, like,
Incredible.
What we've learned is you're definitely the superior model, bro.
I literally do the construct version of like being bashful. I like twist my foot in the ground.
Oh.
There's no better construct, especially not that thing.
Oh, I wish I could cry.
Oh.
So sorry, B-Dave.
First of all, no, you weren't. Second of all, we could play out the 10 rounds because it could shoot and fight and stomp all that time. But you know what? You know what?
Oh.
It's fun.
Wow.
I need you all to. I
That's
need
dope.
you all to know.
Thank you.
I threw the Tarrasque at you.
His name is Jampers.
2 CR-28 creatures. Fucking a Sararak. And a Warforged Colossus. And I think Mossbrow got hit once.
Yeah, I didn't take any damage.
And all my heels lined up. Like I was gonna drop the big heels.
Here's
when
the
we needed
thing.
them.
B-Dave, earlier,
Big
do you
heels.
remember? Do you remember when I called lightning and you said, that's it?
Yeah. That was vengeance right there. That's what that was.
So do I.
Oop. Oopie.
You just got to pace yourself is all.
Yeah.
A moment later, as you all stand around this bonfire of a construct burning down into ashes in the earth, another portal opens up and the queen steps through.
Hold on, my dog. Bring my dog back.
Well, he's
Thank you. Thank you so much. Go bring me my dog.
You just got commanded by a god. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to follow that.
I'm not trying to pull rank, but can you go get my dog, please?
Ranked.
I mean, she did say please.
And you did say if we needed anything, you'd help.
And I don't ask twice.
she does just sort of cross her arms and smile, and she's like, fine, I will bestow this one last request on you, but I just must know, just from my own curiosity, what are you all the gods of now?
Ooh. Chaos.
Is this collective like a council of a specific thing, or is everyone an individual god of a specific thing?
Just, you all are literally writing the rules in real time. You tell me, are you a pantheon? Are you individuals?
I mean, it's easy for me. It's truth. No one who sings anything can lie. I'm not going to have anyone else do what I did. Not again. Not if I get to be in charge of that. You can only say true things now when you sing.
And she just stands there looking at the rest of you.
The people who worship me will decide what I am the god of. I'm just Mossbrow.
I climb onto Mossbrow.
And,
So sweet.
and I look over at Mossbrow and I say, Mossbrow, also, some of us worshipped you long before this. And if how people see you influences what you are, know that I've known you for a while. And I hold you in my heart the way that you have always been.
I tip my head forward so that the bird bath on top of my head can run down and the rivulets out of my eyes.
I figured out how to cry.
Holy crap. Oh.
Nazetta?
Zetta's kind of like stepping back a little bit, kind of like hiding behind everybody else. She doesn't know. She like looks down. Maybe the goddess of luck. I feel lucky to have found my idols.
And we are lucky to have found you. Vatra?
Well, it feels natural that I would say fire or flame, but honestly, I see that as being more of Kevin's thing. So I would like to nominate Kevin to be the god of fire.
Congratulations, Kevin.
Personally,
He passed the audition.
personally, I think that I will be the god of war. I'd like to oversee battle and make sure that it is different, worthwhile. Because people are always going to go to war, but I don't know. Maybe we can make them fight for better things or something. I
love the idea of this 3-foot feral halfling rampaging across battlefields as the god of war. Yeah. That's so incredible. And last but certainly not least, Clive.
My entire purpose was given to you, to service of you and your ideals, and what I believed you should be. And now I see something different. I have done good things in your name and maybe ignored other good things in your name. And now I will try and be a better version of what I hoped you would be. I will be Clive the Caring. I will not let this force me away from myself. But also, I know that others need to be inspired, as you once inspired me. And if that is our role, well, then so be it. And I'll snap my fingers. I'm going to cast Temple of the Gods. And I'm going to create a temple where we stand to this new pantheon.
Holy shit.
It's on my spell list, B-Dave. It's right in there.
I imagine this grand temple with statues of each of you made out of appropriate materials and including room for a bird bath and Mossbrow's head. And you see the Queen of Heaven just stands just in front of the temple, and she nods and smiles, and she says, "Well then, new gods, might I be the one to offer the first supplication and pray for your intercession with something?" She motions behind her, and you see the air ripple as another portal opens. And on the other side, you see a battlefield with undead stretched and strewn all over the place, and the Tarrasque laying on its side, covered in wounds and bites and scars.
Oh no.
And its eye opens, baby, and starts to glow blue, and it stands up.
Oh, no.
And you see the lich on its back
No.
say, "I said, I am here." And that is a good place for us to stop.
Let's go
Thank
to
you.
fucking war!
My dog.
So much. Look at that precision. We actually got done on time and everything. It's because you all are magnificent and neutralized everything immediately. I was like, we might make it through one of these. I'm going to just throw some stuff at them and just see what happens. Yeah, no, I did not expect you to clear the board. Although the moment you were like, the Tarrasque has this, don't worry about it. I was like, cool. Great. Yeah, no, I know how this is going to go. Yeah.
Oh,
thank you all.
Oh.
Let me do it like this. One last time, everybody, who you are, where to find you, and we'll give it to Pat to play us off here. Again, I am non-ironic TV's B. Dave Walters. I am blessed and fortunate to know the people to do the things that we do, to not just get to play the game that I love with people that I love, but to actually make a meaningful difference in the world with it is such a wild and unexpected turn in my life's journey, and it means so much to me that I get to do this for Worldbuilders. So thank you all for watching. Thank you, Pat, for giving me this opportunity. Again, I will be there whenever the beacons are lit, because apparently there's a whole new pantheon of gods to tell story about. And I guess let's go. We'll reverse it around the horn this time with you, Jim.
Oh, hey, I'm Jim Zub. I'm mostly known for writing comic book stuff. I've been writing the official D&D comic since 2014. I just got announced as the writer of the new Thunderbolt series at Marvel, which is going to have characters you love like Hawkeye and Monica Rambeau and America Chavez and characters that we're bringing into the mix. It's going to be a ton of fun. I was thrilled to put together the Young Adventurers. If you want to bring new people into this incredible hobby and start them on a life of telling stories and being creative, please dive in with those. I also had the absolute honor to collaborate with this man here, Pat Rothfuss, on Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, and our pal Troy Little illustrated the living crap out of it and made us all look so good. And getting to do this for a living, like Dave said, it is an absolute honor. I hadn't met most of you before we played that previous session, and now I'm like all mega fans and can't wait to see you all in person and play with you again.
Oh, yay. Hi, I'm Aabria Iyengar. You can follow me on social media at Quiddy, Q-I-D-D-I-E. I am all over the place, but the only things I can talk about right now are on Mondays over on Fear HQ's channel. You can catch me on Kolok. The brand new season just premiered this last Monday. It's strange. It doesn't make sense, and there's blood splatter, so you definitely want to check that out. Also, you can catch me on Fridays with my good friend Saige over on Failed Save on Pixel Circus's channel. And other than that, stay tuned. Big announcements coming up.
Hey gang, Brennan Lee Mulligan. You can find me on Twitter at BrennanLM. You can find me on Instagram at Brennan Lee Mulligan. The creator and host of Dimension 20, we had this season coming out right now called The Starstruck Odyssey. It's a big old sci-fi adventure in space. So fun, with many more seasons on the way. Oh, so much secret stuff in the works that we can't wait to tell you about. You got to go check it out on dropout.tv, where you can get a free trial. You can check all this stuff out. Or if you want to see what the show's about, you can go to youtube.com/Dimension20show. You can watch the show there. It's good. You can watch it.
I mean, I can personally vouch for Pirates of Leviathan. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, Mr. Magic just got a cool animated short too. It's really funny.
I was about to say, if you want
So
6
good.
episodes of Mercer and Marisha and Christina and me and Aabria,
And
Carlos Luna.
I was Carlos Luna. No, but I was gonna say me and Aabria hate flirting with each other, but that's not true. There was no hate. It's just aggressively flirting. Aggressively flirting.
Evil
with each
people
other.
can love each other. That's not
true.
But our love
No,
just
but
sounds
it's-
terrifying to other people.
Exactly. We hate everyone else, but love each other.
We're mine to kill, and I just want everyone to know that.
That is true. That is true. Hey, Harli.
Yeah, my name is Harli Kane, and I am on pretty much all social media as Harli Hero. I'm a cosplayer. I play on several streams, including Creative Crits channel tomorrow. I'm about to play on the World's Guild as a Warforged. Right after this, I also play on a sci-fi TTRPG show every Thursday, doing all sorts of interesting and fun things. So make sure to check me out.
Hey, and last, well, not last, because Pat's last, but last for us before we give it back to the man of the hour. Say.
Hi, hello. I am Saige Ryan. It has been such a pleasure to play Vatra again. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Not Stage. I'm a streamer over on my channel. I also run the independent network Pixel Circus. Aabria was talking about Failed Save is over there on Friday nights. D&D 5e. It's mostly bullshit and a lot of fun and laughs. You can also find me on Smosh Games. I do board game stuff over there. You can find me on Thursdays with Be Day for the Black Dice Society. Yeah. Thank you. That's the majority of it. There's always a bunch of other things. I'll be on the Crown channel next week hosting arcade stuff. That's me. That's Valentine.
That's a Valentine.
That's my very mean girl.
She's a mean girl. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I
And
love you all.
we love you back. With that, it's all yours, Pat.
I will say, if that went by fast for any of y'all out there in TV land, the mods are killing it in the chat. There's a bunch of good links there for Dropout, for Pixel Circus, and of course for all the different folks, links to their everything. And when we get this on YouTube, we'll post it on my blog, and we'll have all sorts of contact info so you can follow these people everywhere like the obsessive stalkers you are. No, wait, not that. Like the loving appreciators of artistic creators that you are, who are cool, right? We're all cool here. So my name's Pat Rothfuss. I am mostly very lucky that I get to know people like this and do cool things like this. And thanks so much for showing up, everyone. If you want to help Worldbuilders build a better world, you can come on over, take a peek at the website, take a peek at the architects page, which I can not spell or say. Apparently, the word architect, not maybe a great brand choice there. But you can wander over to architects, maybe kick us a little money every month, and then you get heads up about what's coming up, help us make decisions about the direction of what sort of products we're going to make, what sort of things we're going to do. But mostly help us build a better Worldbuilders so that we can build a better world. And thanks so much, all of you, like my favorite people in the world, and everyone watching, a close second place. I think we're good. We were really on time this time. This is stunning.
We did.
So I'm going to turn off our audio video. Everyone on the stream, I'll be back to talk to you personally in a second, but I'm going to say goodbye to these people off camera. And so audio